out center with this camera. I'm already lined up for the other one. How are you all doing today? We're doing a second-hand chat show today. So I have some wonderful guests with me who I will introduce momentarily. I just need to do a quick open house sort of thing. Because this is the chat show, we're going to be talking with our guests primarily. So once we head over into the chat show screen, sound alerts will not work, so don't redeem them. It's just a waste of your channel points, because apparently you can't refund sound alerts. Who knew? Also, where we'll be chatting with them, I will try and communicate with chat in chat rather than doing it vocally, and my guests are welcome to do the same if they want to. So let's go and meet them. Bam. We have the ever wonderful Prez at the castle. Hey Prez, how you doing?
I'm doing good. Wait, do I introduce myself? Do I have to do the intro? Oh no.
And you just have to answer the question, how are you doing?
Oh! I'm always amazing, CK. Thank you for asking. Oh,
No.
you're wearing your purple tie.
Thank you. I like my tie too. I like because it's a Pokemon tie, but it's a tie, so it's business. But it's Pokemon, so it's casual. It's very like a. We have the always delightful Sydney. Sid, how you doing?
Hi, I'm good.
Good.
Busy, but good.
Good.
I'll do like this because it goes invisible like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like genuine thing. So do you say the O's in your name, or are they silent? Just so people like can find you. Like it's O0 Sydney 0O, but like
yeah, O0 Sydney 0O is how I normally would say it, but
okay.
people just call me Sydney, and they're like, oh, okay, yeah, they have the 0 and the O.
And we also have the magnificent Rem Inverse. Rem, how you doing?
Hi, I'm
Pointing
doing
you
pretty
below me.
good.
I don't.
Pretty good.
Good. I'm glad. So we have. So how this works is the show is split into 3 parts. We'll do a quick little interview with each of our guests. Then the main bulk of it will be just chatting about whatever nonsense we decide to chat about. And then at the end, everyone's going to tell a little story to help sort of, tie things up and give it a nice little ending. But before we can do that, I don't know if you guys are aware, but one of the redemptions I have on my channel is a cocktail redeem. I know Prez is well aware, he's used it. But I like to bring this in for my chat show, but I couldn't give each of you like a cocktail for free because you wouldn't need to redeem anything or anything. So what I do is I take one ingredient based on each of my guests, and then I combine you to make a chat show cocktail.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. So Sid, actually, you are the first person ever, because normally it's just 3 random alcohols mixed together, but you're the first person ever to be a non-alcoholic ingredient.
Oh, okay. Well, that's actually good because I actually don't drink.
Ah, wow.
Neither do I.
There you go. Well,
So that's interesting.
but that's the thing. Yeah, so basically I just sort of thought, like, I always think of your streams as being like really like nice and relaxed and very cozy atmosphere. They're the sort of streams that are best enjoyed with a blanket and a hot drink. Okay.
Oh, that sounds lovely.
Yeah, well, I mean, Sid streams are lovely. So so basically this drink is based on like a chai tea.
Ooh, I love tea.
Okay. I like chai tea.
Yeah, I've literally never had it until today. But we were talking about, we were talking about, because I always talk about drinks with Katie because she's good at making cocktails and stuff before we do this. And then, I was trying to say, like, I needed something warm and cozy and, like, nice. And she was like, what about chai tea? And I was like, yes. And then that works really well with the other ingredients we've got. Unfortunately, where we were obviously supposed to go live basically an hour ago, it's now only, like, a warm drink, not a hot drink. But never mind.
Okay.
It's fine. In my TV mug.
Nice.
That's cute.
But yeah, and then we have actually done a Prez at the Castle cocktail before. Much like Prez, it's a spicy little number, and actually also a hot drink. But we took from that the ingredient of chili infused rum, and so we've added that to the chai tea. And then what like cocktail ingredient could sum up the ultimate monster tamer that is Rem more than crack and rum?
Oh my
Does
god.
when you say crack and rum, does that mean it has like
Kraken is a brand of rum. It's
Oh!
Brand of rum. I'm very
Kraken.
familiar with it because
Okay.
there's a con that I go to
Like
in
the big sea
January
beast.
every year.
Okay.
And one of the friends that I go with brings a giant thing of Kraken and gets
Yes.
absolutely wasted.
See, I keep hearing crack and.
No, Kraken. You know, like
That's
unleash.
where my confusion.
Unleash the Kraken!
Kraken.
Okay,
So-
I'm glad I wasn't alone, because I'm like, wait, are these ingredients legal to be acquired?
Yes.
What side effects does this beverage have exactly?
It's
And are
spicy.
you insinuating that our friend Rem may be a crackhead?
I feel like my streams are a little
So basically, I've also had a cold for like 4 weeks now and it just won't shift. It's really annoying. This drink, or as much as it is making me cough, I feel like will help shift my cold. You guys, you make a delicious but very spicy combo.
Spicy is good.
Yeah, I like spicy food. This is a nice drink. I recommend it.
Sounds good.
While we're talking about weird drinks, actually, just
Like,
before I start.
spit it out or something, like be like, I can't keep doing this.
Oh yeah. Well, while we're talking about weird drinks, just before I start the interview and like get into the show properly, this is just something that we brought purely because we just couldn't not after seeing it. We were like, I have to know what this tastes like. We have, I don't know if you can read that, but marshmallow cider.
Huh.
Yeah, right.
Good.
It's kind of it. You get two tastes. Like you get like the cider, which is quite nice. Like I like Brothers as a brand; they make good cider. And then you get the marshmallow taste, which is nice. But the two together is bad. Like it's too nice.
I like he just outright like, so if it
Sounds
wasn't
okay.
what it is, it would be fantastic.
Yeah.
But because of what it is,
It's basically
it is
like
god awful.
the sum of the parts are better than the whole, right? Like individually the two, and
That
you
makes sense.
you get the two flavors really distinctly in your mouth. Like they don't mix. It's really weird.
That makes sense.
But I now have a crate of it to get through, so
These are the life choices you've made.
well that's it. Because Katie saw it shopping last week, and she's like, I didn't buy it because it sounds fucking mad, and I was like, no, we need to find out. But anyway, those are my guests. Welcome in. Thank you all for being here, firstly, and sticking out with the fact that we're really late. Can I just get a quick check, because I'm really paranoid about this? I'm pretty sure everyone can, but can everyone in chat hear all the other people?
Can you hear me?
You should be able to.
Oh.
It's giving me desktop audio feed.
I just checked. They can.
Cool,
I have you
awesome.
open too.
Thank you. I just...
I have you open as well, but I have the tab muted.
Yeah. I just unmuted and checked real quick.
I appreciate that. Right, so, interviews then. Let's start with our good buddy Prez.
Yeah?
Hey, I've got a few questions
Hey.
for you.
Okay. What kind of questions? Are we talking like after the show questions or?
Well, yeah, no,
We're on the show, right?
at least while we're on the show, none of them will be sexual.
Damn it.
Yeah, after the show, who knows? I'll have had, you know, oh, sorry, I forgot to tell you. I'm calling this cocktail the Sydney of the Inverse Castle.
Of the inverse
Of the
castle.
inverse castle, that sounds cool.
The inverse castle sounds like a final boss level.
It
Right.
does.
That's something from Kingdom Hearts.
It also suggests to me that somewhere there's a Sydney of the like regular castle, but maybe we'll make that in the
Alter
future.
ego.
Yeah.
This is the spicier Sydney.
The spicier Sydney.
Spicier. And I'm the bad guy? if I'm the in-game boss?
Well, yeah, I think you're the good guy and the bad guy. You're like the good. You play as the good guy, and the bad guy is the inverse Sydney, maybe.
That's interesting. Oh, hold on. I'll be right back.
No worries. It's okay. We'll do Prez's interview. So, Prez,
What's up?
I know you have started working on this year's one after last year's success, but can you tell us, and for those who don't know, what the Friendo Year Endo is and what made you want to do it?
The Friendo Year Endo is an award show we started last year. Both Sid and Rem were actually on it. It was supposed to be a celebration of like good times and meeting a bunch of good people in a very difficult year.
Mm-hmm.
And it was supposed to start like a small thing, like just get your friends together, be like, hey, you did great in this, you did great in this, and it quickly snowballed wildly out of control.
It was amazing.
Yeah, it was supposed to be like a 10 to 20 person thing originally.
Right.
Where we were just like being like, hey, you did good in this, like I'm like, great job. And yeah, quickly, wildly, just went entirely out of control there.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
we put together a full small streamer award show in about a month's time, and like a month and a half, something like that, and it was just physically draining. But the payoff was really nice.
It was incredible. I mean, I don't know how many streamers you mentioned during it. I assume a bigger number, but I remember...
I think it was somewhere between 118 to 138.
Well, that was watching it, wasn't it? That I remember. But I mean, like, there was more people included in the thing that weren't watching. Like, some people couldn't be there and stuff. But yeah, it was absolutely huge. It was incredible. Genuinely one of the best things I've seen this year, and it happened on the 1st of January, or the 2nd, or...
It was the first, yep.
Yeah, it was the first, yeah.
First again. It was definitely a lot of work.
Mm-hmm.
But it became one of like the proudest things I've done, and I'm very excited to do it again because it's cool that some of the people that like just met through the show actively started to like talk and hang out and whatnot, and then there's some people that are still talking about the show and whatnot too.
Yeah.
So it was really nice to see they had some level of lasting impression on folks.
It was genuinely incredible. I was, you know, I've even still to this day got on my Twitter bio, you know, nominated for 2 Friendo Yearendos. Because I was pretty excited just to be, you know, somebody on your committee thought that I was good at something. Like, that made me happy.
Yep. This year, one change we're doing with the nomination panel is going to be almost entirely different.
Mm-hmm.
And no one on the nomination panels knows anyone else that is on the panel, so no one knows who's on the panel.
That's cool.
To try and space that stuff out. One other restriction we put in place is that me and Shady cannot be nominated for any category because we discovered a large recognition bias there, where basically we had a rule in place where if you were going to vote for a category, you have to vote for at least 2 people. That way, larger channels won't just steamroll smaller channels. But the problem is that if me and Shady were ever nominated for a category, they're going to vote for the person they know, and then the other name that they may recognize would be the people running the show. That became a problem that bothered us, so we aren't allowed to be on the ballots this year.
That's fair. But yeah, still, I'm really looking forward to that, and you know, thanks for doing that again, because that was just awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm glad that we started working on it earlier this time.
I'm sure. But you know, I think it's nice to. It's always nice to have a good excuse to talk about it, and like.
I appreciate it. Yeah, it's definitely going to be a lot of work this year too, but
yes,
we started our production process much earlier, so it'll go much smoother. We're excited to see how it grows and continues.
Well, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't know. Soon it'll be award show that it will be the biggest award show on Twitch, and everyone's going to be like tuning in. Be amazing. Right. So something else that I don't know if you've talked about this before, but genuinely, I just want to know. How did your stream team of plushies end up happening?
How did you end up happening? Good question.
I mean, because as long as I've known you, you've always had Gengar and Eevee there. I mean, I don't know if there was a time when you streamed without them, or if it was just one of them, or I don't know.
I know I had Eevee before I had Gengar. And Terramon's the new edition. But Eevee wasn't like a part of like a stream team or anything. When I was first starting out streaming, and like during my first ever Pokemon Nuzlocke I did, like just by myself, I was doing Emerald, I think. I have like a bunch of Pokemon plushies, and I didn't have like a backdrop or anything, so I got like a bed sheet and I hung it from the ceiling over the couch to cover everything. And I just had Pokemon plushies on the like couch to weigh it down, so they were just there. Like I had Charizard and Pikachu and stuff too. But no, like the idea of like a stream didn't really happen until Gengar. I just picked him up one day at the store, and I was showing him off on stream. I was like, look at this cool thing I got, I love it. And then people were joking like, "Oh, is this the new streamer? Is this gonna be a great replacement for Prez?" And I don't know, it just kind of snowballed somewhere from there.
That's cool.
And now they're here, and if they weren't here, people may not watch it. They're here for them. They're here for them.
It's not true.
It's a little true.
It's a little true.
It's a little true.
Yeah, like no real idea. I think just kind of one of the things that snowballed, kept going, and now it's just part of my streams. Like
it does seem like an awful lot of your life is just things that have snowballed.
Yeah. The award show was supposed to be a 20-person like congratulations ceremony. That snowballed wildly out of control. The stream team wasn't supposed to be a stream team. It was just supposed to be me bragging about this cool plush I found. That snowballed wildly out of control. Nuzlocke races weren't supposed to be a year-round thing. I just had fun with one or two of them. That snowballed wildly out of control. I would say, that's my entire stream career in a nutshell. Everything just snowballing wildly out of control.
Awesome.
It's pretty relatable. Like, the more rems, I don't even remember how that started. And now people are obsessed with it.
For those of you that don't know, Rem has a redeem on her channel where you can multiply her on the stream.
Yeah.
So you will end up with maybe 20 Rems at some point.
If people are, similar situation. I don't even know how it happened.
But that's really fun. I sort of wish I had something like that. You know, where it's just like a thing where your community has got so behind an idea that it now becomes a thing.
There are like different size Rems too. Like she'll have like a tiny mini next to her. And it's like all like jutting out of the screen here and there.
Well, there you go. I mean, assuming there's going to be the same awards this year, you know, one of them was Best Redeem. It sounds like you've got a strong vote there.
I'm flattered.
So then, finally, I'd like to ask. So anyone who's ever raided Prez will be familiar with his channel spiel. And I wanted to know sort of how that came about as well, and also I guess partly for everyone, how fast can you do it? What is the quickest you've ever done it?
I've never timed it, but you're never gonna believe this, CK. It's something that spiraled wildly out of control. I did it once because like I didn't have an intro. And, like, a larger channel raided me with, like, 50 or 70 people, and I just started panicking. And I tried to introduce myself and talk about my channel, and that's what I ended up giving. And then my brain just hits save file, and now it just loads every time. Like, it's just there now. It happened once, and it didn't stop happening.
It's really good. Like, you see a lot of streamers do have their immediate like as soon as somebody raids them, like this is the thing I say that they say over.
Right.
Like, I mean, and I think it's good that you've got one, and not only do you have one, yours is quite distinct. Like most people it's just like hi I do this, you know, I stream this time this thing at this time, and that's it.
Affected my friends' brains.
Oh
You
yeah.
understand how many times people are like, so this is our buddy Prez of the Castle.
Yeah. Oh no. I mean, it doesn't only stop there. I mean, I've seen people just introduce you and go, "Hi, this is Prez of the Castle. He likes action games, fighting games, indie games, all that good stuff."
See, that's what I mean. Even you know it.
Everyone knows it.
It just like I've had so many people just do my intro.
I liked it.
It really impressed me when I first when we first started becoming it. Like I was like, wow.
Yeah. You were like, wow, this guy has it put together. Now you're finding out, no, that came from a place of panic.
Well, hey, it stuck though.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, I'm still trying to work. Like when people raid me, and I'm like, it's like, hey, thanks for the raid. That was really cool. And you know, thanks to people who came along. And then I'm like, about 10 minutes later, I go, oh, I should have introduced myself. Hey, you might not know me actually. Like, I play some games sometimes.
Sometimes. Well, one of my favorite tags I use on my channel is sometimes. Only sometimes.
Sorry, that cut out just as you said that, and
Oh,
it sounded like you said fuck times and it was censored. Like
no. I said One of my favorite tags I use on my channel is funny sometimes.
Funny sometimes, right? Because I got the fuh, and then you cut out, and I was like, what?
No, never.
Okay, that's cool. Awesome.
No, as far as, I can try to do it fast if you want.
Sure. Wait. Let me get a timer. There must be a stopwatch on my laptop somewhere. Huh? It actually isn't. That's insane. My phone's got one. It's fine. Okay.
I can also do it really slow. That is something.
Verify.
I think that's maybe less funny. I don't know. Certainly less impressive.
It is. I mean, it's impressive how much I commit. Well, Rem will confirm that.
Prez, nobody has any doubts about your commitment to anything. Okay, are you ready?
It was one. Sure.
3, 2, 1, go.
Hi, I'm Prez, President of the Cast. Love to meet you. I like acting, dark fighting. Well, kids for Digimon Zoids and Gundam. The main games on channel currently Resident Evil Remastered, Gundam Digimon. So let's restart that. I just bit my tongue. Yeah, God.
Okay. 3, 2, 1, go.
Hi, I'm Prez, President of the Cast. Love to meet you. I like action games, RPGs, fighting games, adventure games, indie games, all that good stuff. We do carpets for Digimon and Pokemon. Make all kids, Gundam Zoids, Digimon main games on the channel. Right now, Digimon Survive, Digimon Story Time, Super, and Resident Evil 1 Remastered. We are also doing variety nights, monster nights, and fighting game nights. Beyond that, I'm never alone. Streams got my lovely stream team, which consists of our magical soft Terry Silver, who's not with us at the moment. But we also have emotional support EV, because sometimes you need emotional support EV. Hi, it's me. I need emotional support EV. We also have intern Terrymon, who's a gift from SecondHand CK over in the UK. His eyes are big, he likes dancing, he's a cool type of love him.
That's me.
We also have the legend himself, co-host Gengar. Any words for the people, buddy? Be motivated. Take a breath. Yeah. And if any of that sounds like your company, I do hope to join us more often, because I'd be delighted by the company.
That was about 38.5 seconds.
I feel like I've done it faster, so I think I can get it down to 30.
All right. You reckon you can shave 8 seconds off that? I mean, that's just a lot to say. Well, I think what you need to do as well, you need to start playing games that only have one word in the title, so just like that.
Digimon Survive, Digimon Story Cyber, Resident Evil 1 Remaster.
Right. I mean, I just... We're playing Digimon and Resident Evil. Let's go! We go. Awesome. And then...
the slow one's probably close to, what, 38 minutes? Poor Rem had to sit there when that happened.
Yeah.
Never mind poor Rem. Rem knows you. Poor people who came along in Rem's raid.
No, it wasn't Rem's raid. We were streaming together.
Oh, okay.
And someone else raided, and it was my friend Tier. And I was like, all right. We were like, hey, Prez, do it fast. I'm like, how fast do you want, Tier? And he was like, as slow as possible.
Oh. Well, in which case, yeah, poor Rem. I mean, this is one of the things, like, so... Well, one of the main reasons I started doing this chat show was to get, like, try and introduce new communities to each other and stuff. It's really hard to put Prez on a show where you go, like, who can I put Prez with that Prez doesn't already know? Because Prez knows everyone.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how much, like, Sid and Rem have crossed paths. I mean, you might already know each other, but...
Definitely seen her name around.
Yeah.
It's a year out, but...
Well, hopefully this will be a nice way for you to, like, I don't know, tighten your bonds and stuff. But yeah, I was just like, there's nobody I can get on this show that Prez doesn't already know. It's just, right. So Prez, do you have a question for me?
A question for you would be, how has your new era of fatherhood been impactful in your life? So something I've been personally curious about.
I mean, how hasn't it been impactful in my life? I mean, it's crazy. Can you believe she's almost a year? Like,
oh, dude, it's incredible.
It's been. I mean, I'm so tired now. But she's genuinely just so wonderful. She's like the most amazing little child. Like, someone asked me the other day, "Is like, oh, what's your daughter like?" And I was like, her favorite word is no, and she says it a lot. She's
No.
Yeah, no. She's so full of mischief. Like, she loves just to call. Like, she knows things are wrong because she'll smile at you and then do it. Like, she's such a little shit. It's awful, right? And then, and then, like and her daycare, right? They've told us, they were like, for someone her age, she is way intelligent. Like, she's really switched on, and it's like, and we can like, she does things that you just wouldn't expect like a baby to do. She's really mad, and then I'm just like, yeah. So she's growing up to be exactly like all the horror stories my parents and like my aunties and uncles have told me of what I was like as a child, and it's just like, and I just couldn't love her more. She's just. She's awful and it's brilliant, like, but she's so fun and she's just so funny and she's.
I have to go, guys. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
That's okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, you kids like been growing really fast, and
Yeah.
it's been like super exciting to see. So, like, you had like similar stories that you were told that you were a lot like that too.
Yeah, like my mum will always sort of tell stories of how I could get out of any like harness I was put in, like car seats or prams or anything. I could escape everything, and
You would be escaping your car seat and pram, is what you're telling me.
yeah, and then I'd just like, or like, you know, she'd look away for a second, look back, and I'd be sort of halfway down the shops, or like, you know. And as a child, I had no fear, and health and safety wasn't as much of a thing when I was a kid.
Okay.
You know, so like, she used to take me to like a play thing at like a local like gym to us. But like and you know, this was like massive sports hall sort of things, and there used to be climbing frames like floor to ceiling. So they'd be, you know, these climbing frames would be taller than like a sort of, I don't know, taller than like vans and stuff. Like really high is basically no way would a child be allowed to play on these nowadays. And I would go straight to the top like in an instant, like no fear. And my mum would be at the bottom like, oh my god, if you like, there's no nets or safety or anything, like, because it's the 90s.
Right.
Yeah, and she's just like, yeah, and like, you know, she'd just be like, oh my god, like if he fell, he'd die. There's no question about it, like. But yeah, and I don't know, and I can just see a lot of that sort of thing in Lyra. I think she's going to be the same. I mean, for now, all she escapes from is her bib, but she's learned to take her bib off, and we've got like one that goes over her, like it goes over the table, then over her arms, and then like velcros behind her.
You got to get the industrial strength bib.
Yeah, it's called like a coverall because it covers her body, like her whole body and the table. But she knows she's learned to take that off because she hates them, and she's.
Rem, do you have any stories from like when you were a kid growing up? Did you ever try to commit jailbreaks or arson when you were a child?
I have a really good one. So, this happened when I think I was like 2 or something. I don't remember it. It's just been told to me. But, we used to go camping with my grandpa, pretty frequently when we were kids. And we were out somewhere, probably at the beach, because they usually have golf carts at the beach. And they had walked off my mom and my grandpa had walked off for like a minute, and I was in this golf cart by myself, and I looked over and they turned around and I had started driving the golf cart. I got my foot onto the pedal and I drove it straight into a brand new van.
How old were you?
I think like 2, like before I can remember.
We had a 2-year-old driving golf carts.
Yes.
Committing traffic violations. You were a toddler police report.
Yep.
That's
this
cool.
feels on brand. That feels on brand.
Maybe this is why I don't drive now.
You have internalized trauma from when you were a toddler.
Actually, genuinely, I think speaking of as going to your back to your original question of you know, how has having her impacted my life? I think I'm a better driver now.
Really?
Yeah. Because we had to buy a like bigger car, so I've got like a proper dad wagon now. It's good.
Yourself a dadmobile.
Yeah.
Did you name it dadmobile?
What?
Did you name it?
Well,
are you the kind of gent that names his cars?
Katie likes to name her cars. I don't know if we ever settled on a name for this one. I quite like Valkyrie.
Okay.
Because it's got VLK on the license plate.
Gotcha. See, I just named mine Nia because it's a Nissan. What? Oh, Sid's back.
Sid is back. Ooh.
She's mute, but she's back.
Okay.
I'm just figuring out some stuff there. Yeah. Good to know that Rem was a menace to society as a child.
Every once in a while.
Every once in a while. That's even more concerning to happen once in a while, Rem.
I think I should be able to be on the call, but my mom needed my help, but I can talk while I'm in my car.
Gotcha. Well then, why don't we jump to Sid real quick? While we
Yeah,
got it?
I was going. Sid's next on my list anyway.
Fantastic.
I can't
Also,
turn.
Bo's asking if you can
Yeah,
turn
no,
us up.
I know. I was just about to say I can't turn Prez up because he's already on max volume, but I've turned the other two up. Okay, Sid. So, your streams always have a really relaxed vibe. I think, as I sort of said earlier. Do you do anything to prepare to make them like extra chilled out, or is that something that you just sort of happens?
Normally I just try to just play stuff that I want to play and with friends,
Mm-hmm.
and that kind of is what I do, and maybe that's why just like I'm hanging out with my friends basically.
Sure. And so you don't. It doesn't seem so much like a performance like streaming normally is. It's just hanging out with your buds.
Oh no, it's just me. Yeah, it's just me. Basically, being myself with my friends. So.
Precious just changed his background. It confused me.
Yeah.
Cool. So you do a lot. This actually is the question that I've asked more than any other question on this show, and today you're the lucky person who gets it. But you play a lot of JRPGs on your channel. What attracts you to that genre?
I've kind of always been a fan of JRPGs since I was little.
Mm-hmm.
I've just always liked anime. I've always been a weeb. So, I mean, that's basically why. That's kind of like my core kind of, I guess, genre that I like, just period.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
It's like my core game genre.
Awesome. Just one second. Mrs. Dunces, thank you so much for the raid. You were playing Among Us, right? I'm pretty sure. It will tell me in a second. But thank you so much for the raid. For those who don't know, I'm CK. This is a chat show I do every couple of months. We've currently got Prez, Sid, and Rem hanging out with us. I don't know why I did it like that, but so if you want to just sit down and listen to some amazing streamers and hopefully meet some new friends, this is what we do at this show. But thank you for the raid, and thank you for coming in. And Mrs. Dunces was actually on the last episode of this show, so she knows all about it.
Seeker, this is your chance to practice your intro.
I just did it. Was that not good? Oh, I mean, when I'm not doing the chat show, well, I don't even know what games I'm playing because I've just finished both of my games. I play games. There we go. There she got a shout out to work probably. Had a lot of fun this time playing. Awesome. I'm glad you enjoyed your stream.
Hello everyone, this is CK, secondhand CK of the secondhand shop down the secondhand street. He is a owner of many sloths that you may acquire by following and or subbing to him.
That is true.
Sloths come in a vast variety.
You can also get
including a
sloths for
sleepy
donating
sloth, a
bits.
party sloth. That is correct as well. You can also get donated sloths. Now, if you are a fan of the cute and cuddly variety, the secondhand shop is where you can find everything that you may need. Now, the secondhand shop has quite the variety, you may be wondering, including a talented streamer man known as K himself. On the secondhand shop, he runs the place. He also has night shift manager Umbreon to keep the place safe in case anything goes wrong. Night shift manager Umbreon may not be available at the moment because he is currently working, but that is perfectly fine. Now,
He's
CK
around
himself
somewhere.
has a variety of streams, including a lot of puzzle games, adventure games, art movies, and so on and so forth. He never leaves anything out of touch, and he will always be sure to put concerns first. So come on down to the Secondhand store with Secondhand CK.
I don't know where Umbreon's gone now. That's upset me. I wonder if it's in Irish Teddy's.
That was great, Prez.
That was really good. Thank you, Prez. What Prez said? Hi, I'm CK. No. This is why I don't like Katie tidying my stuff, because now I don't know where Umbreon is. Oh well. I'll find him.
He's working the night shift, right?
It's true, yeah, it's my day off, but well, night shift starts in 2 minutes, but yeah. So Sid, as someone who streams both art and games, do you have a preference, or do you find the two types of streams differ, like much in sort of what people you get in, or like what vibe you sort of try and aim for? Or...
They definitely are very different from one another. For art, I usually have to think about what it is that I want to do, and that's, I know, like you talked about, like the performance thing. I would say the art thing would be have a lot more thinking going on for it.
Yeah.
While games is more just casual. Usually I plan ahead for the art streams, like what I'm gonna do. Whether it's with somebody, I've streamed art with Howlnet, and I've streamed art with Elementality or John. But John did the music stuff while I did the art. But it's usually pre-planned, and like we have an idea of what we want to do. So it's definitely very different there. As for the people that come, I usually get the same people come to my streams no matter what I do.
Sure.
Usually, so everybody just comes to hang out and stuff. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. So then, do you have a question for me?
I'm not sure what question that Prez asked you, but
Prez asked me how having a baby has changed my life.
Oh, okay. How about lately I've been kind of into more of like revisiting some of my favorite older games, especially since one of them came out recently, like came out, I guess I should say. So what is a game that you really like from your childhood that's kind of like stuck with you or really
I think so. The things from my childhood that have kind of stuck with me, I think, as they sort of, well, I guess there's a couple. Like as a series, Resident Evil and Mortal Kombat are things I always sort of tend to go back to. I mean, I've streamed Resident Evil a lot on my channel. I think I've done one Mortal Kombat stream where I played one of the games and made cocktails based on the characters. It was one of my cocktail streams, which is quite fun. But I'm not very good at Mortal Kombat really. Like I'm like not enough to play it online. So I'm one of those people that plays it just for the story, which is weird for a fighting game. So they're like series I've always sort of, you know, I think I started playing Mortal Kombat when I was about 5, and I started playing Resident Evil when I was about 10, and I've sort of not stopped. But like for sort of specific games, I would say like Super Mario World is probably the game I have completed more times than any other game. I think it's one of the best platformers to ever exist, and maybe one of the best games to ever exist. Yeah, I think it's incredible. I mean, I did the charity stream with it last year. I think it was at the end of last year. Maybe it was the beginning of this year. I don't know. Where I completed the game Deathless. And practicing for that was really hard and was a really long, like months of my life, and I never managed to do it in practice. And then I streamed it for about 5 hours, and it was the very last run where I of the stream where I managed to do it, and it was just like the best ending.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. That's
Like, I actually got, like, the run before it, I died, and I was like, oh, fuck it, we should just end now. I don't think I'm going to do it. And then I was like, no, we're going to have one more go. And then I actually did it, and it was just, like, the most amazing thing. But
all you do was everything perfectly all the time. That's all you have to do.
Well, yeah. It's hard, man.
yeah.
Like, this is a game I know inside
Challenge
out.
runs are no joke.
And it's a game I know inside out, and I've played it, like I say, I've completed it probably like 30, 40, 50 times sort of thing in my life. And then, but to do it deathless was something else. Like, you know, like I'd much rather do one of my like one-handed challenges. I've now completed 4 games one-handed on stream, and they were all easier than doing Super Mario deathless.
Yeah, any deathless like run for any game would be pretty challenging.
Yeah, definitely.
Personally.
Imagine being good at games.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I can't relate. That's for sure.
So
It's like, I don't want to hear that from you, mister. I play games one-handed. I play games with an oven mitt upside down. I do speed runs, deathless runs.
oh yeah, I did used to speedrun Octodad. I should get back into that. It's just I don't have the time to do things like that anymore. But that was really good fun. It's like I think I'm good at me. But yeah, so there you go. I'd say Resident Evil and Mortal Kombat as a franchise, and Super Mario World as a specific game are games from my childhood that have really stuck with me.
CK is the reason I call it President Evil.
That's really nice. That's awesome.
Yeah, I know, I think so. Right, let's move on to Rem. Hey, Rem.
Hey.
So, playing mostly monster tamer games is quite a unique niche. How do you find those games have influenced you and your streaming?
So I did not start out playing monster taming games like when I first started. It kind of happened organically over time, and honestly, like, so I used to stream on YouTube, and I couldn't, like, it wasn't really obvious to me that the audience was there, and I thought, like, oh, no one's gonna want to watch me play Monster Rancher for hours. Like, I'm gonna do it anyway.
Sure.
So I was playing over on YouTube at first, and then I switched over to Twitch. And all of a sudden, I started getting raids from other monster taming fans, and like I realized, like, wow, there's actually other people who are like me, just obsessed with this niche genre of things, and I can actually like make friends like this. This is really cool. And so I started putting more focus on it, because like it's something that I've always really, really loved, and I just didn't like realize that was out there until I started streaming it.
That's cool. I like that it's sort of led to you finding friends and stuff. That's really nice.
Yeah.
That's how we've been.
We did. Prez and I met because of Digimon.
I mean, that's
she would come
perfectly
over, I
reasonable.
recommended a few times, and she had a little camera on her digital pet toys, which I thought I had mine somewhere. But yeah, like she had her Digivices just on camera. I'm like, oh my god, Digimon fan, let me go check this out.
Bring that back someday.
And yeah, so then I hung out her stream. She was cool, and I rated her a couple times, and now here we are. Yeah, she had like these little dudes, just like on
camera. Yeah, it was for an Odaiba Day thing. Yeah.
See, and like so many other people, I only know you because of Prez.
Yeah, Prez definitely has done quite a few introductions.
Yep. It's okay. When we get to season 2 of this show, I'm going to try harder to put Prez on with somebody who doesn't know, and be like, I'm going to introduce you to somebody.
I believe in you.
Thanks. It's a real challenge.
Why is this a challenge that needs to happen?
I don't know, because like I say, this show, one of my original reasons for doing the show is because I understand that networking is a big part of streaming, but as much as I try not to come across it like it, I'm really shy, and I find talking to new people really difficult. And then I was like, so if I can introduce my friends to each other by doing this show, then if they find that difficult too, at least they're meeting new people somehow.
I just internalize all my panic.
Yeah.
I'm panicking, don't worry.
That's okay, as long as it's not just me. So I also wanted to ask you about your bot. I believe it's Auto Remington.
Auto Remington.
Yes.
Sorry, that bot is amazing.
Well, this is it. So a lot of people have a bot. I guess the normal bot you see a lot is like the butt spot thing, but like that just sort of replaces words with butt. It isn't like anything interesting. Whereas your bot, I think, is really cool and actually adds to your chat. And I just want to know how you think having the Auto Remington has changed your streams.
It's kind of like, occasionally it could be a bit of a problem because it confuses people, and I've got to explain. Like, I wish there were an easier way, like if there were like a thing you could put in the, like a little description when you pop up someone's profile. But like, because I have to explain that this is a bot, she's, you know, this is how it works. But I think people have really come to enjoy it as well, and I'm always looking for like ways to engage that are actually like fun and different and not just like, you know, something that my heart's not really in. Whereas I really like chatbots and things and like AI and things like that, and so this was a way for me again to like just combine something that I've always really loved and put it in a way that it like actually interests people, and you know, people actually will speak to her. I didn't quite expect that, but
it's good. But she replies,
becoming a little
doesn't
too
it?
powerful.
she is too powerful.
I mean, like, does I don't know how it works exactly. Like, does it learn new things to say?
Yeah, so what it does is it learns, like, when a message is posted, it adds that message to its, like, bank of words, and it will try to put words together based on where they have appeared in relation to other words. So if somebody says, I like cats, and then somebody else says, I like cats are yellow, she might learn to say, I like cats are yellow, and that, so it doesn't always make like a sentence that makes sense, but the more words that she has connected together, the more that she can start to make more creative sentences that somewhat make sense.
Sure. But I think it's really fun. I like I say, I think it's the best bot I've seen in anyone's chat. It's really good.
Thank you.
Did you make her yourself then? Like, did you?
No. It is an existing bot software that I run it on my computer, like locally when I stream.
Sure.
It's definitely become something. I know whenever playing Digimon, if you watch each other's chats, and then Auto Remington always says something.
Yeah. Yep. She speaks about every 10 minutes, I think I have it set to.
And then finally, I sort of wanted to know, how do you think your streaming journey may differ from others, whereas you are, you know, like normal humans, considering that you're a being from a parallel dimension of dreams and nightmares?
It's been pretty interesting. I feel like I don't know if I would say that it differs all that much, in the sense that, like, it took me a while to kind of figure out what I wanted to do, because I, you know, obviously I am streaming, so I can assume my true form, but then where do you go from there? What do you actually, because you have to have something to stream, right? You have to have something that actually engages people, and it took me a while to find that. I kind of jumped in, like, there was a period, like a big VTuber boom, and that's when I got started, and so it definitely took time to, like, what is my brand going to be? What do I actually want to do? You know, what interests me enough to be here for 8 hours every week?
Sure.
You know?
Sorry, just because you said it. So my problem with ENV tubing, right, is I always read it as NV tuber.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm like, I wonder if there's like a RAF tuber and a Greed tuber, and like, there's a lot of these NV tubers about, like. Sorry. It's just
Probably is. Like, there's definitely been a big VTubing.
Yeah.
Years, like,
it's starting to kind of fade out a little bit, and that's causing some. I do think this is something that's probably different from like just the wider streaming community, because it was such a big boom and like so many people were coming in, and also it was during, like, it happened during the pandemic, so
there was definitely a streamer boom in general in the pandemic as
Yes.
well.
Hi.
And so a lot of people got interested, a lot of people got started, and a lot of people, like, were taken by the idea, but like me, they didn't know exactly what to do with it, and a lot of people got burnt out, and now there's like generally less people watching, and so a lot of people are starting to quit and stuff because of that.
But yeah, I don't think VTube is going anywhere anytime soon. It's like, I still see a lot.
It's definitely not. It's just interesting to see people kind of fading away. It's sad. A lot of
I was
people
actually
that I started.
I was actually talking to one of my friends today, saying how of the people I knew when I started, none of them are still around.
Very few.
Very few.
Yeah.
I think I met CK in my first year, right?
Yeah.
I know I met you relatively early on.
I think
CK.
certainly. I think you'd been
Both
going a
well.
bit longer, but I think I'd been streaming about 2 or 3 months when I met you.
Yeah, we both met relatively early in our stream careers, so that's been one thing we've both been very fortunate to at least have each other.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like, yeah, I suppose, yeah, you're kind of the exception, but like the people, my very sort of like initial core, none of them stream anymore. Most of them don't even go on Twitch or anything.
Yep.
And it's yeah.
Like I definitely know what you mean.
And
I used to share my Discord with someone else, and they aren't there anymore.
Yeah.
That's why it's called the Nerdy Castle.
But it's like you sort of saying where everything sort of dipped, and now a lot of people are like quitting off just because the viewers have dipped and stuff. I'm actually finding only in the last sort of month or two that my views are starting to slowly come back up again. I mean, they're still not high. Like
there's
anything,
actually analytics behind that. There is every year a seasonal downturn in viewership over the summer.
Well, yeah, no, I get that because, but I don't just mean. I mean they went down for like a year.
Okay.
And they are like literally just starting to come back, and it's nice. Don't try and take this away from me with data and your facts, right? Like I'm just trying to say that I'm finally feel like I'm starting to do like slightly good at something.
Yeah, and it's really cool to see you come into your own like that. It really is.
Yeah.
Because that's a lot of things that a lot of streamers struggle with, like finding their pace and where they feel like they start to come into their own, and it happens differently for every streamer.
And
yeah, so streaming, interestingly, wasn't even what I wanted to do when I started VTubing. I didn't really plan to stream much at all, but I wanted to make ASMR, and my previous cat would not let me. She would not let me do it.
Could you not just have like cat ASMR?
Huh? A cat ASMR. I did post a few where she came over and started purring in the mic. But yeah, she just wouldn't let me do it.
That's it. Just the quiet noise into everyone's ear is just meow.
Yeah, like I don't think I really came into my own as a streamer till maybe even this year, maybe like late last year.
Everything is a work in progress.
Yeah. So it's cool that like you're seeing that uptake now, CK. Because I'm really hoping for the best for you there.
Thanks. I just think
it's lovely when you finally see it happening and it just clicks eventually, but you just don't know when it's going to click.
I wouldn't necessarily say I've got it to click yet, but like I say, things are sort of moving up. It's been a bit nice. So do you have a question for me, Ram?
What I wanted to ask you was, I realized that I don't know where the secondhand in your name comes from, and I'd like to know, like, when people have interesting usernames, where that came from. So. Okay,
so I mean, it sounds interesting, but it's a really boring answer. My Xbox was my Xbox 360 was the first thing I needed a gamer tag for, and my Xbox is secondhand, or was secondhand. So
it has a really nice ring to it, and I think it, like I wondered about it. So yeah, I think that's even if the source of it isn't
But like I've been using CK for ages, because in the old sort of like games where you used to be like enter your character's name, you know what? There isn't enough characters to have the name Christopher, so I had to shorten it.
Oh yeah.
So that
Don't forget the double X62 underscore
No,
era of gamer
no, yeah,
tags.
hey, so I've never needed to add any X's, underscores, or numbers to my name because nobody uses secondhand CK.
Yeah, that's the great thing about a unique username. I refuse to put numbers in any username, so
Yep.
I will find something that doesn't have numbers in it.
Right? Like my my PlayStation one was Toasty Pants, just because it's like, hey, you know what I like in the morning? If you put your pants in the radiator in the night before, you get up, Toasty Pants. Obviously, I guess
my dryer has a warm-up function where you just put some clothes in, it'll run for like 10 minutes, it just warms them up. I'm like, yes, toasty pants.
Obviously, when I say pants, I mean underwear, but
I do.
CK, I'm right there with you. A good pair of toasty pants, it's immaculate.
right. Also, interesting fact: when I had to come up with my PSN, I didn't go for it because it was one of those things that's like, although technically PlayStation would let you, I didn't know if there'd be problems further down the line, but I very almost went for Little Big Penis. Because it was the funniest thing I could think of. Because yeah, we just got a PS3. Like Little Big Planet had literally like come out the week before my brother got a PS3, and I was just like, I was like, it was there.
Little big penis.
Would have been a good one, but yeah, I understand the reservations. If they ever change those terms of service.
Leon wants to know why you're so sexy today, CK.
I told him it's fine. I'm paying attention. Cool. Hey, so what's a chat show without like a good advert, right? So I don't talk about this very often. I use my ad break on my chat show just to mention it. Purely because I was bullied, actually. But I now have a throne. If people ever want to look at it, it's purely because Strawberry Kitty, who is a wonderful streamer, I'm going to be playing It Takes Two with her next month.
You're playing that together.
Yeah, but
That's gonna be lovely.
she bullied me into making a throne. So that's there, and I have a merch store if you do !shop, I think, or !merch. I'm not sure. It's shop. Streamlabs has literally just told us. But you know, those are things. You don't have to ever do them, but this is my one time every 2 months when I bother to plug it. Done. Thanks, Leon. Yeah. Oh man, there's a typo in that. Check out SME Sweet Merch. I should say some. God damn it.
No, it's me now.
It's me now. That's gonna have to stay there. It's me now.
It's me now.
It's me you're looking for. Yeah.
Hello.
Cool.
It's me you're looking for.
So the this next part of the show is just basically we're gonna just have a chat. If there's any, I don't know if any of you have brought along anything you want to talk about as like a not literally brought along, but you know, like a conversation idea. I've got a couple of things with you people in mind that I would like to go over certainly, but I'm open to anything if you guys want to start off with something, or I can.
Before we were just talking about like video games and like mecha and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think before the stream started, yeah.
Yeah, you know me. I have to drag people down the hole that is mecha. Down the absolute hell pit that is mecha.
I don't even know how
drag
that
everyone
topic
I know.
came up, to be honest.
I existed in the same room as you. Is how that happened.
I really don't remember.
It's how I brainwash people into trying different mechas.
So just so people understand, the reason that we started really late is because about 2 minutes before we were supposed to go live, Lyra woke up and I had to go and try and soothe her back to sleep, and she wasn't having it. And then this is what they've talked about for about an hour while they were waiting for me. Is apparently anime big
Shut
robots.
Up,
Yeah.
Prez mind empty only mecha. You leave my empty mind out of this. I'll have you know that other thoughts occupy my mind too.
So
like
I mean, we
Digimon.
talked about Monster Hunter. And
Yeah, we talked about Monster Hunter and God Eater. Yeah. Like my mind is also filled with anime things and
Right.
nerdy things
so
and thighs and.
did you say on thighs?
No, of course not. Never. What? How dare you accuse me of such degeneracy?
Okay. So mecha wise, right? I haven't watched any like anime mech things, which I guess is the main sort of thing. But I've played a really cool mecha game, which I know is based on an anime, so it's sort of in the Prez camp. But Prez, on your like PS2 era, did you ever play Zone of the Enders?
Of course I did. I actually played it last year on stream.
Really? What a cool game!
Yeah, it's short, lovely. Weird. The design's cool until you realize that the cockpit is where the first part of that word is on the mech.
Yeah.
It's a very interesting design in that front, but the rest of it's fast paced, it's short, it's sweet.
It's a really good like 3 hours.
Yeah.
It's just really nice. Hey, you want to be a robot and shoot lasers?
And actually, CK, it's the other way around. The anime was based off the game.
Oh, really? Because I know that JUT and whatever the bad guy was called, I can't remember. They're not really in the anime at all, are they?
I don't believe so.
I think they might have a cameo in like one episode, but like.
Yeah, like they had a like 1 or 2 sequel games, and I only ever played the first one.
The second game was really good too. I didn't know there was any more than that, but and the second one had a.
Me too. I could be mis.
The second one had a local versus mode.
Oh, the first one did too. If you entered a cheat code.
Oh right, and it was like it was a really cool idea, but the camera angle was so that like player 1 is here with the camera behind them, and player 2 is right over there in the distance.
It was actually PS2 era nonsense camera.
Like because it wasn't split screen.
The camera was only ever actually on player 1. If
Yeah.
we're honest.
And it was like if they made it split screen, it would have been a really decent like fair thing. But as
sometimes the camera would shift to player 2 if like you arranged it.
Yeah, well, if you rotated around the circle, but it was kind of, but yeah, but that was a fun game.
It was really fast paced. It was really fancy because you could like charge and throw spirit bombs and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But man, yeah, that was a game I really enjoyed. I finished up one stream too. Like it is very short.
But it's very good, very fun. The second one is good too. It holds up. Well, I mean, it probably doesn't now. I'm sure if you played it now, it would be really, really dated. But
they did a remaster for the or was it the second one? The second one they actually ported a VR version as well.
Wow! Oh man, I'd love to try that. As you mentioned VR,
those
right?
were relatively recent. Yeah.
So, I've told everyone that for Christmas, just give me money so I can justify buying PSVR 2. But I'm actually also sort of really not sure if I want it because it's not backwards compatible with PSVR 1. Which is the most upsetting news I've heard this year.
Anytime anyone says that something's not backwards compatible, it's upsetting.
Right?
It's just upsetting.
But I just don't understand. I just want to play Beat Saber again.
Beat Saber is probably going to get its own version, you know.
Yeah, but it would be Beat Saber 2, and I'll have to buy it again.
No, I think it's going to be an upgrade Beat Saber 1 kind of deal. A bunch of songs included.
That would be okay.
That's what my guess would be. I just want the track editor to finally be added.
Oh yeah, so you can make your own songs. Yeah.
Yeah.
That will never leave the PC.
Why would you say that?
But yeah, and I'd love to play more Hitman VR. That was so fun. And like Moss is genuinely one of the best VR games I've ever played. Like that was one of those games I got it going, people have told me this is good, I don't really know much about it. Ended up doing the entire game in one stream because I couldn't put it down.
Well, CK, if you'd like to have a better understanding of the United States in general and Mecha, I would recommend a game called Metal Wolf Chaos.
Oh my god!
To play that.
I saw a video on YouTube about that, and it's amazing.
I want to play that so bad.
I have it. I was supposed to do it for like a Mecha Month kind of deal, but I never got around to it. But yeah, CK, if you want to understand the United States and mechs,
sure.
Again, it's called Metal Wolf Chaos XD. From the same makers of Metal Gear and Zone of the Enders, I believe.
Konami.
Follows the Vice President of the United States during a coup d'etat.
Cool.
So how do you answer problems in the United States with guns? So we made a mech.
Sure, makes sense. Understand it. Speaking of things of understanding the United States, right? And this isn't painting the United States in a good way, but I mean, at the same time, it's...
Oh, don't worry, most things don't.
No. At the same time, it's perfectly factual, so it's only their own fault. But the new...
Me and Rem just crying in our room. Sid's just out here like,
The new Anti-Flag single is incredible. But the music video it's just like different facts about American healthcare and how damning it is and how it destroys people.
Oh.
It's terrible. It's the worst.
Yeah. And obviously, I mean, I guess this is... I've always sort of been vaguely aware that American healthcare is ridiculously far too expensive and not nice. I'm so great. Like, don't get me wrong, it's flawed, but I'm so grateful I have the NHS. Otherwise, I genuinely wouldn't be able to afford to live because I have to take medication every day.
Yeah, no, it's destructive.
Sure.
You have experience with the industry as of recently, correct?
Yeah, like in general. So I have a bunch of chronic health conditions, and I've been in poor health since my childhood, and it's just like...
Sorry, I didn't mean to get so real on my light entertainment show,
okay.
but
Okay.
I mean, I've got chronic health conditions too. That's why I was sort of saying I have to take medication every day.
Speaking of like different musicians and stuff, and VTubers actually, did you guys hear the new song by a band called Set It Off? Like, there was this rock band I like listened to like for a while, and they just did a collaboration with Hatsune Miku of all things, and no one was really expecting that.
Ah, that's interesting.
And the song's actually like really good. So everyone's like, "Why? Wait! This rock band is now collaborating with Hatsune Miku. What's happening to the world as we know it?"
I'm a big Vocaloid fan, so... But I haven't heard that song. I'll have to look it up.
Yeah.
Same.
If you look up Set It Off, the song name, it'll be under the new releases on Spotify, obviously, but the song name is Why Do I? Let's see. CK, you said you had some, like, particular questions about us, or, like, pertaining to us?
Well... well, one of them is sort of because Rem is here. So I sort of wanted to ask, what's everybody's favourite monster?
Like, in general? Are we talking, like, kaijus? Are
No,
we talking, like,
in general. In general. I mean,
all monster categories, all encompassed.
Yeah. Just what's your favourite monster? I mean, I understand, obviously, with what you're doing on the stream at the moment, zombies is a big thing for you.
I would not put zombies like as one of my favorites, though. There's just so many zombie things and whatnot.
That is true.
Rem, is your favorite like Sueyo, the eyeball thing from Monster Rancher?
Oh, okay. So, Suezo is not my favorite, but...
Okay.
No, because not Snorlax, come on.
In terms of the mascot, Suezo is the rightful mascot, and I will die on that hill.
I saw that you were very excited with the new like giant kaiju raising game.
Yeah.
That Suezo was an option.
So, with Monster Rancher, the original mascot when the first game came out was Suezo. And then when the second game came out, they kind of kept it, like it's in the logo, but they created Mochi to be the new mascot.
It's the little duck with turtle shell, right?
Remember. Yes, the pink one with the green thing, yeah.
Yeah.
And
exactly
so for the trailers for Ultra Kaiju, they showed like a giant Mochi, but they didn't show a giant Suezo, and I was like, this is wrong. So...
And then eventually the screenshots came out, and now everything's okay again.
Yeah,
so until watching your streams, I'd never seen the Monster Rancher games, but I used to watch the cartoon, and that has both of them, doesn't it? Like the main two are the Suezo.
Yeah, they're on the same team.
It came out with Monster Rancher 2, so they had both of them.
Yeah, they made Suezo like that ornery uncle character. This is the best way I can describe him.
Picking a favorite monster is really difficult, like even if it's just like general monster types and not like specific monsters from games. Because I love monsters in like a lot in general.
I mean, we can narrow it down if you'd rather, but
Rem is the proud owner of a Monster Girl encyclopedia.
I don't own it, actually. I don't. I don't own it.
I'm just giving one of our mutual friends a bit of trouble.
Even I don't own it.
I feel so bad for them. They didn't know. They genuinely didn't know. So, for those of you out there that are wondering what the hell we're talking about,
Yes, that's us.
There is a book called the Monster Girl Encyclopedia, which I would not recommend you purchase. A mutual friend of me and Rem's, and you know her as well, our good friend Selva, right?
I know Sylvia.
She saw the pictures and she's like, "This is fantastic art. Let me get this as an art reference."
Yeah.
She was unaware that every character from there and all of the text are all derived from various sources of smut.
It's just fetish material.
Yeah.
100% the whole thing.
Oh, absolutely.
So she bought this as an art reference book, and I warned her after the fact. And then she gets it, she opens up, she's like, "Oh my god, I was not prepared."
Yeah, it's... yeah. I think in terms of monsters that you don't normally see a whole lot that I really, really like, Doulahan is one of my favorites.
Which ones?
Which is like a headless knight.
Oh, the Dullahan.
Yeah, Dullahan is how a lot of people say. I think it's supposed to be said Doulahan, but...
Okay. Okay. Were you a Durara fan, by chance?
I actually am not. I haven't seen it. So...
One of the main plot points there is there is a Dullahan there.
Yeah, I'm aware of. I like kind of JRPG design where like a night girl, like headless night girl.
Okay. Gotcha. So a
think
Dullahan.
like Saber from Fate, but she can take her head off.
I mean, if that's what you're into, that's what you're into.
It's a weird. I don't know why. Like I don't understand, but that's a weird favorite, oddball favorite.
Rem has always just wanted to go bowling with her own head. That's all.
Like in have you seen Mystery Men 7?
I have not.
Oh. It's a really bad like 90s superhero film.
You're really selling this.
No, it's great. It's like a good bad. It's actually, you know the song Smash Mouth by All Star? They actually wrote that for the soundtrack for this film.
All Star by Smash Mouth.
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Did I say it backwards?
Yeah.
Mm.
Smash Mouth by All Star.
You know what I mean. But that song.
I feel like a song called Smash Mouth would be a very different connotation.
Anyway, it's really it's a very bad like superhero film, but it's like it's so bad it's good. It's that sort of film.
Okay, it's one of those situations. So it's like Resident Evil 6 when you and I played that together.
No.
It was so bad, it was good.
No. That was so bad we were good. But one of the characters in that, their power is they have a haunted bowling ball that's haunted by like their dad's head. And they like throw it at people. But
I think you got some family issues to work out there.
yeah. But like to give you sort of, I think so I can remember that one. The main like guy in it, who's played by like Ben Stiller when he was sort of just becoming famous and stuff, is a guy who he's like super angry and he attacks people with cutlery. Like that. This is the level of superpowers they've got. And there's the guy who played Kel in Kenan and Kel is in it, and his superpower was that he can turn invisible, but only when nobody's looking at him.
I'm gonna have to find this.
And I can't remember what the other four powers were, but that
I can't hear Kel without thinking of Maury.
yeah, it's called Mystery Men 7. It came out sort of late 90s, I think. Maybe.
And they're all like useless powers.
Yeah.
God. Okay.
Well, no, they're not useless. They're just all, they're not like A-list superheroes. They're all. But yeah, no. It's one of those films. I mean, it probably hasn't aged well, but I remember it being like a good bad film at the time. But as you said, bowling with your head. On a related sort of monster note, Ains says slime girls.
Slime girls are good.
I will not be speaking to that.
Yeah, wait. No, slime girls was a type of monster, not an instruction.
I will still not be speaking to that.
You would be really hard pressed to find a type of monster, especially monster girl, that I don't like.
Me and Rem are in a similar camp for various reasons that I will not be elaborating anytime soon.
Okay.
Is the best way I put that.
I guess we should.
I bet I can guess. I feel like Sid's favorite monster is something from Final Fantasy, like a Chocobo
Moogle.
or a Moogle.
Moogles are good. I also like mascot. Like
It's Mudman from Final Fantasy 14.
It was a Final Fantasy one. I knew it.
Mudman?
I don't know Mudman.
I will look it.
I like Moogles though.
Which is your favorite kind of Moogle? They all look a little different.
I mean, if I had to choose my absolute favorite Moogle is I want to say it's called Mog.
King Mog?
No, not King Mog. It's going to annoy me. I don't think it is. It's Ico's Moogle.
Ico's goes from
Final Fantasy 9 because it's me.
Oh, okay.
Fluffy is good. I've also got a red.
It is Mog. I was right. I'm sorry.
Cryptids, Mothman and the Flatwoods Monster, who are my favorites, and are also from West Virginia, like I am.
Take me home.
The song.
There's Mudman. Thank you, Sid. So just popped in the chat.
It's wonderful. I love it.
All right.
There's a little crowd on it. The crowd looks like a banana almost.
Everyone, it's going to ruin the stream because I'm going to minimize so I can look at the picture. It's cool. There you go. So the chat can see. That's it's got a cute little face, but like then it's got an angry old man face underneath it. Oh, there's so many.
It's cute, yeah.
There's so many layers to this
God,
creature.
I didn't even notice that the rest of it also looks like a face, like an old man face.
So many layers to this creature.
I can't pick a favorite monster without upsetting my stream team, so I will refrain from answering that for stream team cohesion and harmony.
I do want to know what everyone's favorite Pokemon is, if you can answer, Press. Because I just like to know that about people every time I meet someone.
Wait, I'll be back in a second. I will go get it for you.
Nice.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He'll go. He has. CK is well known. These two are my favorite. Eevee and Gengar are my favorite, but they are not who I would choose as my Pokemon if I had to if I could choose from any Pokemon. If I could choose any Pokemon as my Pokemon partner, it would actually be Victini. Have you seen Victini?
Yes, I like Teeny.
Yeah. He looks like a little apple slice.
Yeah. Very cool.
Yeah. He's the victory Pokemon, so like good luck and everything, and he's adorable. So it works out nicely. He's got Psychic type and Fire type. He's adorable. He's got good luck with him. Like yeah. I'm all about Victini as far as like if I had to choose like a partner Pokemon, and I could only choose one, and that would also be because that way it would be either of them, and neither of them could get mad at me then. They can't say that Gengar's your favorite or that Eevee's your favorite because I chose neither, and that's to be fair.
Celebi.
Yay!
This is my favorite Pokemon. This is my second favorite Pokemon.
Good choices.
Oh, you found Night Shift Manager Umbreon.
Yeah, Katie put him upstairs.
My favorite Pokemon is Vulpix, followed very, very closely by Clefairy and Gengar.
Okay.
My favorite type is Ghost, but Vulpix is like...
I actually just got an enamel pin of Clefairy and Gengar together.
I love the Clefairy or Clefable and Gengar like connection. I was really sad actually when they made Clefairy Clefable pure fairy. I was like, no, they're not like mirrors anymore. No, don't do that to them. But yeah, Vulpix is the number one. Always has been, always will be.
Vulpix is adorable. That's a very good pick.
Is it original Vulpix or like a Alolan?
Original. I like the Alolan one, but I'm very Kanto biased.
That's fair.
That's fair. Millipede, Umbreon. Okay. Ains is right there with you with Umbreon.
Scoliped's the best bug type too.
I like.
I would disagree.
Well,
Yeah, honestly, my favorite bug type is Scizor. I've always loved Scizor's design, like, a lot. He's, like, one of my favorites.
Favorite bug type, probably Butterfree.
Oh, bye-bye. So, what would you say... So, like, my answer was different between, like, my favorite Pokemon to have as a partner. Bye, Kate. So what would you guys choose as your Pokemon partner outside of your favorite?
It's always been Vulpix. Outside.
And
of
it
my
always will be
favorite-
Vulpix.
Yeah.
Rem's like, if I can't have Vulpix, I will take a low Vulpix. Thank you.
Other than that, maybe a Muna.
Okay. Okay.
Are you telling me I can't have Umbreon?
You can, because you said Celebi's your favorite.
Celebi is my favorite. And I always think, if Pokemon was real, I would never want to catch a legendary Pokemon because most of them have an important job in, like...
Oh, like, if the Pokemon world is an unrelenting hellscape, if we're honest. Someone takes their dog for a walk in a volcano. You cannot possibly live in that universe.
My point is that if Celebi, like, vanished from the world because the AI had caught it, all of a sudden there'd be no one looking after the forests. Deforestation would happen. Well, the ecosystem would be ruined. Time travel would I couldn't do that to the world. They need Celebi.
I could.
Well, you're an ass. Whereas
yeah.
I would have an Umbreon with me all the time. Or failing that, a Hydreigon.
Okay. But I see your point. Like, the legendaries definitely have, like, a factor of the world itself.
Yeah.
It's safer to have a regular Pokemon.
I suppose the exception would be like Mew and Mewtwo. They don't really do much. Like you could. I mean, it would be difficult to do, but in theory you could catch them and the world wouldn't change.
That's true. Except, Mewtwo has its little clone arm.
I just need a Pokemon that can help me sleep.
Drowsy.
Melodic is my favorite one, so...
That's a fantastic choice.
Very good.
And yeah, Ains, like, Pikachu stats, like, what would your Pikachu?
My Pikachu would be Gary's Pikachu. Umbreon.
Gary's Pikachu! Dragonair, not Dragonite, but Dragonair for Ains.
So, the issue with the Dragons family, right, is that if you have the shiny version, like Dratini and Dragonair are like a really majestic pink and look really sort of fabled and wonderful, and then Dragonite just looks really poorly because it's green. But it's not like a cool green, it looks like it's really ill.
Oh, the shiny one?
Yeah.
Shinies are all over the place.
They really are. I've never gone shiny hunting. I don't think I'll ever go shiny hunting.
No,
just
but
too much.
if somebody's got a Game Shark and you can just get yourself a blue Miltank, why would you not?
That's true. I remember I used to have like an action play making like these weirdly wild custom Pokemon teams. Like a shiny Magikarp that knew Dark Void and like Judgment. Like just this absurd Pokemon.
I got really attached to my shiny Mimikyu in Sword, so that would be another. I really like Mimikyu a lot.
Like, genuinely, I wish the Pokemon Sun and Moon didn't exist other than Mimikyu. Because
I mean, the show was fun. If the art style was weird, but the show was fun.
I
had a Gundam reference in there.
I haven't watched a Pokemon anime in a long time, but Pokemon Moon, I think, is one of the, not only the worst Pokemon game I've played, it's one of the worst games I've ever played.
I wouldn't go that far. I wouldn't say
didn't
so.
finish it.
You're right, because it's shit.
I wouldn't say it's one of the worst
setting.
games.
I like the setting and the characters, but yeah, it was kind of boring.
Okay. Here's a fun question. What's a game that you guys have streamed that you just genuinely didn't enjoy at some point? Like you were like, this game is just bad. I don't like this.
That I've streamed.
Yes.
I don't think
Is there any game that's made you feel that way at any point?
I've had a game I didn't enjoy streaming, but when I played it off stream, I enjoyed it a lot more. But I've never had a game that I just genuinely didn't like.
Okay.
There was a game called Drabidi Boo that I was like, oh, here's a new monster taming game, and it looks, it's strategy. That looks really fun, and I tried. It wasn't fun.
For
It's
me,
like a card game type of like war game strategy monster thing. I was like, oh, those are all things I like.
Yeah.
But you put them together, it didn't work. For me, it was Scarlet Nexus. Anyone that's seen my Scarlet Nexus streams knows how I feel about that game.
Really? I never played it, but when I saw the trailer, I was like, this is the most Prez game I've ever seen.
Yeah. It was fun at first, but the characters frustrate me. The characters frustrated me to no end. The entire plot could have been resolved with like a half-hour sit-down conversation. The entire plot could have been resolved that way, and it just wasn't. It was a bad mistake after miscommunication, and it just repeated. Just sheer incompetence on every single part. The character just continued to frustrate me too much.
Yeah.
And then you would think that because there's two main characters, if you play the other side, you'll be like, oh no, it's even more frustrating when you realize how incompetent the other side is as well.
Have you ever watched Supernatural?
My sister loves that show. I haven't gone into it myself. She's binges on yearly.
I think it's not like a great show, but it's a good if you don't want to switch off, don't need to think too hard sort of show. It's quite happy watching. I find they're when they do a comedy episode that has no real relevance to the story, those are usually better. They make some really good fillers. But that I think it would bother you for the same reason. I'm pretty sure after about season 3 or 4, in every season, the middle chunk of it is just Sam and Dean not talking to each other because one of them's done something to annoy the other one. Whereas if they just sat down and talked for 5 minutes, they could have resolved everything, and they'll spend about 6 episodes hating each other. And it's every season, this is where the middle of the season goes.
That sounds like it would drive me up a wall.
It's like I say, it's a fun show. It's not necessarily a great show, but it's fun, and but it's very formulaic.
Had a Scooby-Doo crossover?
I don't know if I've seen the Scooby-Doo one. That must be quite. I've seen maybe the first 8 or 9 seasons.
What's a crossover that you would want to see? Thing.
Yeah, well,
that sounds like a weird one, Supernatural and Scooby-Doo. That sounds like what's a crossover you would want to see?
Well, if you want to make your own Kingdom Hearts, is that what we're doing?
Yeah. If you could make your own Kingdom Hearts, what would it be, CK?
I don't know. How can I put Mortal Kombat into almost anything? I love the Mortal Kombat world so much, and the characters are really fun. Some sort of Mortal Kombat Looney Tunes would be really cool because it could be horrifically violent, but nobody would die.
Mortal Kombat Looney Tunes.
But you know what I mean, because your Looney Tunes essentially is just violence, but without consequence. But then if you ramped it up to Mortal Kombat level, where it was just really visceral.
Just drop an anvil and someone watch their head explode.
Yeah, but then they're fine in the next scene.
Rem, what would your ideal Kingdom Hearts? You combine two things.
Let's say that again. You cut out in the middle.
What would your ideal Kingdom Hearts situation be? Combine two things.
That's difficult.
I always really like asking people this question as well. I mean, Prez has beat me to it, but this is legit. In case people don't know what to talk to, I have a few conversation starters, generic ones written down, and this is on my list.
Maybe that's where I got it from. I feel like maybe you asked me this before, it just came back to my head.
Possibly.
I'm just stealing your content, CK. I apologize.
That's Digimon fine. And something else. I don't know what the second thing would be yet. But
let me
as long as Digimon is involved to some capacity, right. I am okay.
Let me explain to you why it should be Mortal Kombat.
Please, CK, enlighten us. Give us your Digimon Mortal Kombat sales pitch, if you would.
That would be amazing, wouldn't it? Like, because then not only would the Digimon battle, but the Tamers would as well.
Tamers just destroying each other.
I love bringing this up, CK. There is a season in Digimon where the main character makes his Digimon Digivolve by collecting energy from the enemies. Would you like to know how he collects that energy? He goes around punching giant monsters in the face himself. Bro has drop-kicked a dragon, punched, like, dinosaurs in the face, and, like, suplexed monsters. It's amazing.
That does sound cool.
Also, I watched a compilation of that with my friend Daya, and we noticed that he definitely has something against bird. I want to say a solid 30 to 40% of all the things he's punched have been birds in some capacity. Which is just really interesting. Man, this guy really hates birds.
I mean, I don't like birds.
I mean, after those birds in Resident Evil, I want to punch a few too.
This is my thing, right? I've always said to people, is like, you can tell who's played Resident Evil as a kid is if they're scared of crows.
Yeah, he's just a lunatic. He's just a lunatic. No one else in the show has to power up that way. Everyone else is normal. This man is a lunatic that just goes around punching monsters. He earns the respect of his Agumon and becomes his partner by boxing him in the streets.
I mean, it sounds an awful lot like the Digimon World game, right? It's like...
I don't know, I feel like Digimon World is like a pet raising game, and I feel like that's animal.
No. Digimon World is like, hey, we need to rebuild the city. If I go and kick the shit out of you, do you want to join my city?
I mean, yeah, that's fair. That's a fair way to put it. Next Order, thankfully, the city's already built for the most part.
It is, but the game's too difficult and I couldn't finish it.
It is. I got stuck at the first boss. I want to replay it on stream at some point.
Same. Honestly, Rem, same.
I just want to replay
my
it.
buddy Bo to play it.
I want to replay it on easy mode.
Yeah, they're adding an easy mode.
Is it? Oh, well, it's already got
Or
easy
a beginner mode.
Oh.
One thing I really want to play is Digimon World on stream. Because that's one of my favorites.
Well, like the
I love that game so much.
PS1 one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it was on PS1. It was very charming.
Yes, I got all to like full 99 prosperity on it.
I love that game.
Yep.
I need to finish it, but I lost some of my progress when I built my new computer, so I'm like afraid to go back and see how much I've got to do on Digimon.
Just restart.
just start over. What I'm hearing is we'll all do it together. Me, you, and Prez playing Digimon. I guarantee you, I have the unnatural ability that I can always get a Metal Mamimon. No other ultimates. Metal Mamimon is just the one that comes to me.
It was my first one.
Speaking of unnatural abilities in Digimon, our friend Hydroxid Ant, also known as Tony.
Yes.
We're convinced he may actually be a Digimon.
You think
in Digimon Survive, you can recruit like enemies in free battles by talking and negotiating with them and answering these like randomized personality-based questions. He hasn't missed one.
Not one.
We tested it off stream as well, Rem.
I think that's just because Tony's a really friendly guy. Like I'd be his friend and go and fight battles for him.
No, he was having a breakdown by the end. He's like, "Why is this happening?"
He was trying to give the wrong answer, and it would never be the wrong.
He can't get. He's just too friendly for his own good. He can't turn it off.
But by the end, I was like, okay, no, Tony, you're a Digimon. I don't know how to break this to you, but you're a Digimon.
I do think. Wait, Prez, when I was watching your stream the other day, you had like a clip of some anime thing. It was like a guy in red with a big sword, and I think there was a mech or something.
Oh yeah. That's from Mobile Fighter G, which is
sure.
a Gundam.
But that guy in red has exactly Tony's voice.
No, he does not.
Yeah. I saw that clip and I was like, I'm sure that's Tony.
No, he does not. Absolutely. No, me and Rem have been playing Digimon Survive together. That's very entertaining. I have mixed feelings about the game overall. The experience has been really fun, though.
Yeah. It just drags is the problem.
It drags. I have a lot of questions about some of the writing. The characters don't bother me too much, and there's characters that are meant to bother you, which those are fine, you know?
Yeah.
Like, they're clearly meant for you to not like them.
Yeah.
Like, how dare you be mean to Lotmon?
I told y'all you were gonna hate Shuji. I told you.
It's not even just the fact that Shuji's like not. It's the fact of how adorable Lotmon is that adds to it.
Yeah.
I love Lotmon. Lotmon's great.
Lotmon is so good, and he's so mean to her. Like you don't have rights anymore.
She's so round. And CK, Survive has one of the best portrayals I've seen of Agumon.
Mm-hmm.
Which is a head empty, thoughts are not possible.
I've seen you said it's a very derpy Agumon.
He cannot formulate a single thought, and all of his expressions relay that. I love him. I love that dumb little dinosaur.
So one of the other things I wanted to talk about with you here, because I always like to talk about, I guess, where we're all like streamers and it's kind of relevant. I like to talk about like new Twitch news and the such.
Okay.
So I guess the recent-ish. I mean, I guess it's happened since the last episode, so I didn't talk about it then. So it's in the last 2 months. But so what do you guys feel about the whole removing hosting thing? Because I guess that's like the big thing that's happened recently, isn't it?
I don't like it myself. It was kind of cool to like have the hosting go, and especially like if you had like a special command or something or an effect set up, it made people feel more involved, and it actually helped you with your discoverability to an extent, because basically it didn't matter if someone hosted you with 1 viewer or 0 viewers or at all. The algorithm would apparently take into account how many hosts you had, similar to raid count. You know, boost the chance of you coming up on people's recommended. So getting rid of that hurts discoverability, and some people were confused on how that worked. They thought hosts were useless on that front, and no, apparently, like boost your chance of coming up on recommended channels and whatnot.
Yeah, I didn't really use hosting too much, but I feel like have they given a rationale for removing it?
No, that seems to be the main thing that I don't really use hosts myself, but I can't see a reason for it to not be there anymore.
One of the things is that sometimes like hosts were involved with like hate raids and trying to expose people to like someone has a big audience of trolls and they would use it to expose people to that. That was the only thing I could think of, and for that I feel like Twitch needs to actually do something about that instead of removing features, if that's why.
Yeah. I mean, I guess they could always sort of say like we're going to remove it in the short term while we work on something else, like. Yeah.
But I don't know if that's why. That's just literally the only reason I could think of.
The thing that
it is.
Sorry, go on.
Oh, it is a pain that they are reducing like discoverability options when Twitch has almost none to begin with, other than raids.
I think
discoverability is definitely a problem, but from what I've heard from the people that have tried to go to YouTube, equally if not more problematic as far as discoverability goes.
Yeah,
there's more people on YouTube, it's bigger.
The benefit to YouTube is the better payout ratio, but the discoverability is that apparently works.
Yeah.
But the thing I would sort of say, which I think people have kind of forgotten in the whole, like, oh, I'm annoyed that hosts aren't there, is that the auto hosts still work?
No.
Well, mine does. I still have an auto host list. I've seen my channel have other channels on when I'm not online.
Yeah, it was before you started streaming, so.
Yeah.
Let's see here.
So my auto host still works.
Mine does not.
Yeah.
Oh, that's weird.
Maybe it's rolling out across
I'm
countries.
looking at my channel right now, and CK should be, being auto-hosted. He's definitely 100% on my auto-host.
Possibly.
Maybe if I refresh.
I don't know. Possibly.
It's there now. My refresh. It's there now.
There you go. So auto host still works, which is, I mean, obviously I understand that you can't actively host people, but after raiding, they are still hosted on your channel, and if you have them on an auto host list, they still get hosted. So I don't think.
Right, but the question is, does auto host do the same thing to the algorithm that a manual host does? Because a manual host reads like the same way a raid does as far as the code goes. I'm not sure if an auto host does that.
I don't know, but there is still some way of hosting people and like putting out their name a bit, I guess. I don't know. I just wanted to get thoughts on it because I think it's important to talk about the things that are happening on the platform we're all using.
Yeah.
This is me trying to be serious for 5 minutes, right?
Yeah, it's Twitch is in very much a weird place where a lot of people aren't very happy right now.
Mm-hmm.
There's just not another good option, and as soon as there is, they're going to be in trouble.
Yep, so some people think YouTube, they jump to YouTube, they have a bad time with YouTube, and now they don't know where to...
Yeah. So the thing, I started out on YouTube because that's where a lot of VTubers work, and that's also, like, again, when I started out, I wanted to make an ASMR channel, so it made sense to stream there. And I got some regular viewers, but the amount of work to like manipulate the algorithm and like get that discoverability on YouTube, I was putting in so much work every week, and the kind of like I just moved,
it's more
like,
SEO, right?
to Twitch, and it just happened. Like much more success than the amount of like SEO work that I was putting in. And part of that is because, and a lot of people get it wrong when they're like, oh, you should just put your VODs on YouTube for discoverability. People don't watch VODs on YouTube. They don't, no matter what you do. They're not going to watch
unless
your
you
VODs.
already have an established audience on YouTube.
Yeah, and even then, it's mostly clips. So if you don't have the time to actually edit and make snappy, like, people want YouTube videos that are 10 minutes long. That's what they want. And if you don't have the time to edit it down and select your best minutes and all of that and make good thumbnails, you're not going to get, it's not going to happen like it does on Twitch where somebody raids you and people are like, oh, I like this channel. It's not going to happen.
No.
Plus, they do have a better payout rate, but in order to become a partner, you have to have 1,000 followers, which is not the worst thing in the world, but you also have to have 4,000 watch hours within a single year. And that is a lot of watch hours. It's a lot.
So yeah, it's a harder road to get to where you can get that payout, but the payout is better.
Yeah, once you get there, if you can get there.
SEO is a big factor in YouTube. So yeah, they both platforms have their positives and whatnot, and like you'll hear everywhere, like what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to leverage every platform you can. Like you edit your VODs and clips down and post those to YouTube. Make TikToks and everything. Like that's what you'll hear.
And that's all well and good if I've got 20 hours a day.
Exactly.
I'm poor. I can't hire an editor, so I got to do everything myself.
Right. I mean, again, like I've got a full-time job, and a wife I like to spend time with occasionally, and a child to raise, and maybe on a rare occasion another friend to go and see.
For me, it's like the most I do is for TikToks. I use Streamladder, which just converts them into like a TikTok format that you can use, like your clips. So
have you had any particular success with that thus far?
Very, very, very mixed, because like they're just Twitch clips. So, they people want more curated content on the platform. But it does help as far as just having content to post. It's recommended to post on a daily basis.
Yeah.
So you set up a business account, you get a bunch of the clips, you set them up through Streamladder, and then since you are a business account on TikTok, you can then schedule out your posts for a daily post. But then, like, for you, Rem, like a VTuber audience definitely has like a very different audience,
Yeah, definitely.
Like they use very like sounds and certain motions and whatnot. So a lot of trend following on that front, from what I've noticed.
Yeah.
So I think it could help you if you were trying to post like at least regularly, but then you would have to make curated content on top of that to actually like grow faster. Like I've been using TikTok for maybe less than a year, like a few months now. I'm at about 211 followers. You know.
I don't have a TikTok because I'm not young.
I'm not young either.
I made one recently, even though I don't like the platform.
Yeah, I saw that. It was after we were talking about it for a little bit.
Yeah, I made one, but I haven't started really using it yet.
I will say, Rem, our Digimon Survive playthroughs are clip gold mines.
That's true. I need to, like, I usually, when I finish a stream, I'm just tired and I want to take a shower and go to bed. I need to remember to clip, because I don't get a lot of, like, clips from viewers.
Yeah, like
so I need to remember to clip so I know where things are. Right after the stream. Because I'll forget.
Yeah, like I spent like a good 2 hours just straight going through a few of my streams, like make clips and whatnot.
See, that was the one, because everyone always sort of says, oh, you know, you should try and get clips of your content because it helps, because people, like you say, people just watch clips to see if they want to watch a streamer properly. Which is why this year I've started my clip contest on my channel. It's helped a bit. But, you know, it's a clip contest every quarter. All you have to do is make a clip and you're entered. And then at the end of every quarter, my mods vote on which is their favourite clip. And then whoever wins, that person gets a month's sub on me. And it's just like a little thing to try and encourage people to try and make some clips. And
yeah, like it's always interesting to see how Twitch is developing as a platform. Because, like you said before, CK, like we've both seen a lot of people kind of come and go.
yes.
And there was the big like streamer boom, like Rem brought up before. COVID happened, everyone went indoors and needed something to do. Seeing people like leave the platform, there's that seasonal thing where like viewership goes up and down. So it's always interesting to see and think about like, all right, these people are cool. Like, how many of them are around a year? How are the other channels I know going to develop? Like, it's cool to see people grow. It's cool to see others come into their own as streamer. It's also interesting to see how people end up leaving the platform for no reason.
Yeah. Anything else anyone wanted to, you know, riff on? I feel like we've.
Let's see here.
I mean, it doesn't have to be. Just if there's anything you wanted to talk about. Well, I guess the other thing I quite like asking people is, anyone got any upcoming games you're really excited for?
I'm looking forward to new Pokemon games. There's that. Like, if I'll be streaming them or what I'll be doing with those. I was supposed to be doing a Stardew playthrough with someone, but they're taking a break right now from the platform, so...
Sure. It doesn't necessarily have to be full stream. It can just be any games coming out.
Yeah, but that's just how I am these days. Like, a lot of time I'm like, if I'm playing a game, I might as well stream, because I stream so often.
Sure.
So, that's just how my headspace works.
That's fair.
So sorry if you say, I think I'm planning on playing Bayonetta 2 soon. When? And then Crisis Core, that's the one I'm really. I'm just excited for everything Crisis Core related. The remaster makes me very happy.
That's fair.
Yeah, I would say Crisis Core and the Mega Man Battle Network games are two things I've been asking for a very, very long time. And the fact that I got them both announced in the same year makes me incredibly happy. I have been asking at the beginning of every single Nintendo for the last 2 years. All I want is Mega Man Battle Network, and now I finally have it coming. So, as a gamer, I'm very satisfied with what's planned to come out.
Fair.
I think probably the biggest one for me is Cassette Beasts, which is like
Yes, I've been watching that.
very retro looking, kind of like modern retro look monster taming game, but it's got fusion, which is something that it's a a big thing in Monster Rancher, but you don't see it very much anymore. So I'm really excited. Just the whole vibe of it. It's definitely looks like it's gonna be my game.
It looks
cool.
so interesting, like the turn-based RPG combat and the fusion mechanic in particular.
I have not heard of that. So I
It's
now
an
so
indie-developed game,
I need to
so-
look up Cassette Beast and Iron Wolf Chaos.
Here, let me write it down for you.
I'm also excited for a game called Paralives. We have no idea when this is going to be coming out, like, at all. But it's like a kind of a Sims style game, because Sims has really, really, really gone downhill, and Paralives looks like it's going to be like everything that Sims could have been and should have been.
Alright.
It looks really good. I'm very excited for it whenever it happens.
Where will you, CK? I bet you're looking at Resident Evil and maybe Dead Space.
No, I actually don't care about Dead Space. I'm looking for. I mean, on the flip side of that coin, though, the Callisto Protocol, I'm looking forward to.
You mean the Dead Space that's not Dead Space?
Yeah. Because my thing with Dead Space, I never really played it when it first came out. I did try and go back and play the first one, and it was alright. I wasn't taken away by it. But I remember when I saw the first trailer for the Callisto Protocol, I was like, that looks really cool. I want to stream that. And then it was coming out at Christmas, and I was like, yes, festive murder. Let's do that.
Murder. I'm also looking forward to Final Fantasy 16. That game.
Yes, Final Fantasy 16 would be really cool. The Resident Evil 4 remake, I had so many mixed feelings about. I will probably play it and really enjoy it. I stand by it doesn't need to be remade. It really holds up. And the whole thing they did with the Resident Evil 2 and 3, it was let's remake them so they play like Resident Evil 4. And it's Resident Evil 4, let's remake it so it plays like Resident Evil 4?
Question mark?
Yeah. But I don't know. I mean, don't get me wrong, the trailer they released the other day, it does look very good. So I will play it and I will thoroughly enjoy it.
Oh, and Tekken 8. I'm super excited about Tekken. I've replayed it so many times.
Mm-hmm.
Tekken got so wild.
Story-wise?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was unhinged from the get-go, let's be honest.
I don't know, because I played the first couple as a child, and then I watched the trailer for 7 after not playing it for years, and I was like, what is happening here?
7's a wrap-up point for one of the main stuff.
Yeah.
It gets really crazy. Yeah, you're absolutely right. 7's a little change. But it's a fun game. It was a good game, but it has not aged well from a visual standpoint. It definitely needs to be. And one thing that'll make you happy, CK, is if I have to take a guess, I would say within the next 6 months we'll hear about a new
Maybe.
Almost definitely, because it's the start of the next fighting game era. Street Fighter, basically, there is a big 3 in fighting games, mainstay fighting games. Feel good. That's Street Fighter, Tekken, and Mortal Kombat. Those are the most influential and long-lasting fighting game series now. Street Fighters is fun and all, but it's just not at the same popularity.
No, it's very niche.
Yep, same with Guilty Gear. I love Guilty Gear, but it's not at that. But those 3 are what basically the rest of the industry looks at.
Mm-hmm.
Street Fighter's coming out. Tekken has announced it's coming out. We're just missing Mortal Kombat. The new generation fighting games has now begun.
The only thing that would make me wonder if that might not be the case is that they've done a Mortal Kombat game and haven't done Injustice 3 yet.
Injustice 3 won't happen because Injustice is meant to fill in the blanks of a comic series. It's not a main storyline. It fills things in. So with the story being fully concluded, there's no more material.
I don't know.
It goes comic, game, comic, game.
Fair enough.
Yeah. So they've concluded the story, so there really isn't anything to make for Justice. Great comic series, though.
Great game series. I don't know. I haven't read the comics, but I really enjoyed the games. This is what
because they're Mortal Kombat-esque.
They are, yeah. But I actually just really like playing NetherRealm games for the story. I know it's like sounds weird, but they actually like have very good stories. They're very cinematic, like really well put together.
That's like my favorite thing about fighting games. So.
Well, I as sort of Bo alluded to earlier, like most fighting games, the story is very background and kind of throwaway. But I feel like in Mortal Kombat, it's actually just very good.
So the thing about fighting games is they actually have a lot in their stories, but you have to go looking for them in the series. Like now they're more cinematic and what. Street Fighter's unhinged. Stay away from Street Fighter's story. It's not okay. Stop it, Street Fighter. Get help. Anyways, KOF. I haven't played the latest game, so I can't speak to the story.
The most. If you want to talk about unhinged. King of Fighters your franchise.
God, I love King of Fighters. The generally most interesting story and lore-wise fighting game for me is Guilty Gear. Guilty Gear's lore and story is phenomenal. Just the planning and how everything goes into it. And I know because it's like a game that started a series of to get into otherwise. I would recommend a series called Heaven or Hell on YouTube by Wooly Versus. He's collected all of the lore information from all of the games, all of the like art books, the arcade machines, the pachinko machines, the manga, and he has made a timeline narrative of everything and had it all fact checked by the developers. It is the easiest and most entertaining way to and it's just absolutely crazy. I love Guilty Gear story. How many times has Mortal Kombat story been rebooted, actually?
Once.
What?
Once.
Okay. It just felt like it was...
Yeah, Mortal Kombat 9 was the only reboot. Because Mortal Kombat 8 was Mortal Kombat Armageddon, where they were like, hey, this is going to include every single character to ever have been in Mortal Kombat. Had a roster of
That's the one I remember the most, Armageddon.
That might be one of the worst Mortal Kombat games. The problem was, they were like, hey, it's got a roster of 65 characters, which was very impressive. But it kind of meant that some of them got quite samey. And then they did the whole...
They weren't unique characters?
Yeah, I mean, technically they were. None of them were identical, but they were like... Some of them just felt a bit patchy. And then they did the whole custom fatality thing for it, where it's like, hey, you can design your own fatalities. And it was actually like... just really badly done and very generic, and it would have been so much better if all the characters had actually had their own proper fatalities. But obviously making 65 fatalities was a lot of work. I understand why they didn't do it. But yeah, so Armageddon was a bit of a bad point, but Mortal Kombat 9 was incredible. It was a very good reboot, sorry. But technically it's only a soft reboot because it does follow on. Like the opening movie starts with the end movie of Armageddon.
So would you say Armageddon was the worst combat?
I don't know if it was the worst. I think most people think Mortal Kombat 4 is the worst, which is kind of the only one I haven't played much of.
Street Fighter 5 did a lot of to the... Like, it did a...
Oh yeah, MK vs DC, you're right, Shin Raven. But that wasn't like canon, that was an off-spin, but that was a bad game.
It's kind of funny how like most franchises have one game that just like completely like so King of Fighters is my favorite fighting game franchise, and for King of Fighters it was 12 because 12 SNK was already kind of on its last legs, and they decided to completely redo the art, and it was absolutely beautiful. It was breathtaking. It looked so good, but the result of that was that the game that they shipped for 12 was basically a glorified demo. It had the tiniest roster of any King of Fighters game, I think, since maybe the first one. And roster is really important to King of Fighters fans. It didn't even include Mai. Mai was not in the base game. She was
For those of you that are confused, Mai is the big booba ninja lady.
The big booba red lady that, you know, if you think of King of Fighters, she's probably one of two characters, you know? Yeah, she wasn't in it. They added her to the home release later, but, like...
So...
It was a misstep.
I was going to say, like, on a similar thing, like, sort of way back when, but when they the first release of Mortal Kombat 3 didn't have Scorpion in it.
That was a move. To be
Yeah,
made.
right. And they re-released it as Mortal Kombat 3 Gold, which had like an extra 4 characters, one of which was Scorpion, because they were just like, I mean, well, but it's mad that they would ever cut him out, because like he's Ed Boon's favorite character.
He's the face of the franchise.
Well, technically, Liu Kang it's Liu Kang's story. He's
Liu Kang's story, but Scorpion's the face of the franchise. When you think Mortal Kombat, you think Scorpion.
Right. It's
when you look at modern box arts for the games.
Like much more nowadays. But that's again because he's Ed Boon's favorite character. And you know, like when the guy who makes the game is favorite character, he's going to be prominent.
Yeah, and King of Fighters doesn't do itself any favors with all different things to know, like Garo, Mark of the Wolves, King of Fighters, there's just so many things that go into King of Fighters.
Also,
it feels like
King of Fighters is a different storyline from Garo and Fatal Fury. It's a different.
Yeah,
canon.
Fatal Fury was the one I was looking.
It's a different canon. So one of the main divergence points is that in Fatal Fury, Geese dies, and in King of Fighters, he never died. He lived. So it introduces a very funny thing now that they've added Rock, who is Terry Bogard's son, into the King of Fighters canon. Because in Fatal Fury canon, Rock is Geese's kid. Geese does not treat him very well, and after Terry kills Geese, he like adopts Rock. He's like, well, like, and you know becomes his father. So because Geese didn't die in King of Fighters canon, but Rock was still adopted by Terry, is like he just stole a kid. What did you do? He just stole this child. Not that Geese cared, but
I'm going to adopt your son.
Yep.
Like, yeah, Terry's a jerk that way. Look, it's a power move. You just gotta flex on them sometimes, you know? Well, what's a bigger power move than adopting your enemy's child? I mean, come on, that's gotta do some level of damage there. Honestly, one of my guilty pleasures is, I think it's King of Fighters 2000, the 3D one.
Oh, yes, yeah. 2006, and Max...
Yeah, with Soiree and Alba.
Yeah. Those,
and then they never appeared again, and their story vanished off the face of the earth.
There's two reasons for that. One, they are non-canon, they're their own canon. And two, everybody hated them, and they hated the character designer from them so much. He's back now. He's back to the series now, and I'm really glad, because I actually really like him. But people
that's definitely a guilty pleasure of mine.
They hated it. All those ridiculous designs in that game, that was Falcon.
They were a little over top with a lot of them, yeah.
They were. Like, he's very into street fashion and stuff, but people just hated it so much that he, like, left the company for a long time.
I mean, they had this, like, cowboy dude with assless chaps.
Yeah.
Like, body surfing on people,
You've become as weak as a kitten. That was his line. I remember it to this day.
And then Alba being the cool guy who's a demon by the end.
Yeah.
Fighting Talon.
Also, the first one was dub only, and it was a very bad dub.
Yeah, what do you think I played?
Yep. The second one is better, and it's not dub only, but the first one, man.
What was there a second one? I think I only ever played the first
one. So the first one is Maximum Impact.
Yep, that's the one I played.
Is Maximum Impact 2, but they renamed it 2006 when it came out. So for some reason, so it doesn't seem like.
Oh well, so it's not a sequel. It's the same game.
It is a sequel. There's Maximum Impact and Maximum Impact 2. Like the storyline continues.
Okay.
So I would recommend that one if you enjoyed it.
Maybe I did play Maximum Impact. I don't know now because like they made references to events in another town, so maybe.
Who was the boss? No, if they kept talking about Southtown, it was probably the first one. Did it have the really ugly blonde dude in the green suit?
I know Louise, the butterfly chick, was in there.
She's in both.
Ah, damn it. The end boss was like this demon dude, who's like Talon or something.
2006. Did he have like extendy arms?
Maybe I can't remember
So
now.
the boss in the first one was Duke. He had like a red jacket.
It wasn't
like
Duke. It wasn't Duke.
So and then like the boss in the second was Jivatma.
Yes, him.
Okay, that's the second one. That's the second one.
Yeah. It was like some weird name, and he had like brown skin and.
Yeah, Jivatma. Yep.
Okay.
And his alternate character was a woman for some reason. Like his player 2 design.
Fighting games are unhinged, but we are entering the next fighting game. Street Fighter 5 did a lot of damage to the franchise as a whole. I'm glad Fire 6 is their only chance I'm giving them to redeem themselves. Before I basically drop that series. Tekken 8 I'm really excited for, and Guilty Gear is still ongoing with their current season. So, okay, what's a franchise that has been on the ropes for you? You know, like you enjoy, you wish it was a little better, kind of deal.
I mean, until Sword came out, I'd say Pokemon.
Yeah.
Like X and Y was sort of alright, but it was like, well, I get it. They put all their effort into making everything 3D.
I thought you really enjoyed Sword.
Yeah, no, I did. I said until Sword came out.
That's what you're saying. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
I remember you doing your Dark Clock and everything.
Yeah. I've done a Nuzlocke and my Dark Pokemon only on Sword. It was good.
I like Sword and Shield okay, but I don't like every time they put out a new game. I think after Sun and Moon, I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna play the next one, and then I get FOMO.
Well,
because everyone's like, look at my Pokemon, and I'm like, I want to do that. So I get it.
This is very much my thing. I when I played X and Y, I was like, I was just like, because I think Pokemon White was one of my favorite Pokemon games. It was like the first, like Gen 2 and 5 are my favorite Pokemons. So after White to go into X and Y, I was just like, I mean it's fine. It's a game. But and then I was willing to let them off because I was like, yeah, they've obviously put all the effort into making everything 3D. It's why there's only 20 new Pokemon. It's why the story's a bit hit and miss. Whatever. We'll give it one more go and see how it goes. And then that one more go was Pokemon Moon. And then I was like, this is just awful. And I think had the next game been on the DS and not the Switch, I wouldn't have bought it.
So for me, like with Sun and Moon, I felt like there was a lot of potential in the setting that didn't really get expressed in the game. Team Skull is still one of my favorite teams, like in the entire franchise.
I just think the thing that really
they're not actually villains.
No, but that was what made them interesting.
Yeah.
And I feel like they kind of had the same story-wise. They had the same missteps with Sword and Shield. It just played better. Like the story was very phoned in, and it was very confused about what it was trying to say. And so, but I did enjoy the actual game part more. I don't feel very. Oh, sorry.
The thing I enjoyed with the story on Sword and Shield was that you didn't have to do all the fighting the bad guys. Because it was like, hey, you're just a kid, and it's like Leon's the champion. Let him deal with it. And it's like that actually makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, like well, I mean, they kind of did that in like Heart Gold and Soul Silver. Lance shows up to try and help.
Lance shows up and goes, hey, why didn't you go and attack all those Team Rockets? And I'll look dramatic in this cape.
I mean, doesn't Lance just straight up murder a dude in the house with his Dragonite?
His Dragonite does Hyper Beam about 3 Team Rocket people just in the face, yeah.
Yeah, he commits murder, breaks down a door, raids this house with a child, and leaves.
Heart Gold and Soul Silver are my favorite Pokemon game.
I'm an Emerald fan.
I never played Emerald. That's one that I need to play. I did not like Ruby very much when I played it as a child, but I need to give it another chance probably.
But yeah, no, my main problem with Pokemon Moon is it was like it literally just wouldn't leave you alone and let you play the game. It was like
yeah, that was a problem.
It was like, hey, let's go on a Pokemon adventure. And you're like, okay. and then you take about 4 footsteps, and it's like, let's have another cutscene. Hey, well done on making it here. I'm going to meet you at the corner of this street. All right. And then you walk to that corner, and it's like, yeah, another cutscene. Hey, well done on making it to this corner. Now let's go inside this building. And you go inside the building, and it's like, yeah, another cutscene of us saying, you've made it inside this building. And it was just like, for the entire game, it never let up. It was just constantly, and I can't play this. It just hurts.
Yeah, I didn't finish it. I also did not really like the Ultra Beast thing.
No.
That's kind of a broader problem in terms of Pokemon design that is definitely still a problem through Sword and Shield and Scarlet and Violet.
I mean,
I'm glad Digimon fixed their design problem after Fusion.
They're doing better.
Digimon's easy.
Gavimon's amazing.
Digimon design is really easy. It's like, let's start with a cute, funny animal, and then make it bigger in metal and guns.
For a while there, and it's still happening to some extent, but for a while there, the problem with Digimon designs is that they were just way too much. Like, way too much.
They were loud.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. And now we got Gamamon, Gullus Gamamon. Those are, like, nice.
Yeah.
So I'm happy about that. With Pokemon, like Ultra Beast, do you know the one called Guzzlord?
I do.
Have you heard Guzzlord in the dub? What it sounds? I'm not kidding when I say they literally put a man in a booth and just told him to scream.
I'm not surprised.
If you YouTube Guzzlord sound, it is a man screaming in a.
I mean, never mind YouTubing it. Put it on John's piano.
You're right. I should get on.
So one of my favorite Pokemon noises in the anime is and it's only in the very first episode it was in, and then they changed its noise. No, Krabby's great, but in the very first time you saw Electabuzz, it didn't say its name like it does every other time. But the first time you saw it, it just went. And
the OG Pokemon noises are amazing.
It's so funny.
My favorite cry, like, in the games is Cricketune. So good.
I think
Bo can actually name a lot of Pokemon just by its sound.
That doesn't surprise me.
Really
like whenever people say to me, it's like, "Oh, you seem relatively like knowledgeable about Pokemon." I'm like, "No. You need to talk to Bo."
You need to go talk to Bo. You're talking to the wrong person right now. I'm sure.
Yeah, it's like I have a good understanding of Pokemon, but that guy's just something else.
Like this is a Pokemon master talking to. So... But yeah, like no, the Guzzlord sound is unhinged. It is literally a man screaming at the top of his lungs.
I mean, what I would like, and I understand it would be a huge amount of work for them to do, but if they replaced all of the Pokemon cries with their actual like noise.
Yeah, part of the problem with that though is that they all have different names in every country that they release it in.
Well,
yeah.
Record it, all of them.
Yeah,
I didn't realize how big a problem that was until I saw the Piplup ASMR video and never said Piplup. Yeah.
I mean, I do understand why that it would be difficult and a lot of work. I get, but or at least if they could update it, so like the Gen 1 Pokemon don't still have horrible like 8-bit digital screeches. Like, could they at least just give them like a new noise? Like re-record it maybe rather than using the old file from the Game Boy.
No, that'll make people mad.
I mean, it would, but
Pokemon. If there's one thing I know about Pokemon fans is that they hate change. You know what else Pokemon fans hate? When things stay the same. You cannot satisfy a Pokemon fan. They are the bane of I worked at a video game store for 10 years.
Oh no.
Do you understand the pain in my soul, the pattern of Pokemon releases every year? Because I would see it all the time. It's a cycle. They're like, man, Pokemon never changes. They never do anything different. New game comes out with a new mechanic or gimmick or something to like give a slight change. Like, why would they change it? This is awful. I hate this. And then 3 to 4 years later, they get nostalgic for the very thing they're
like,
complaining
oh,
about
I
before.
love that game.
Every year.
Yeah, I'm just saying. I love doing the beauty, cool, smart contests. All right, And
episodes.
if I want to get my friends together and be like, yo guys, who wants to mix some poffin? I should.
I was legitimately upset that they didn't have multiplayer poffin mixing in the remake.
Right.
It was a bad decision.
It was. Like, I just think they should be in every Pokemon, as should secret bases.
Yeah, that's one of the
I miss
main
secret
things
bases
that
a lot, yeah.
bothers me about the gimmicks. Not that, like, they exist, but they abandon them immediately.
Yes, yes. People have been begging for Mega Evolutions to come back in any game ever.
Really?
hate
No.
Mega
Mega Evolutions
Evolutions.
suck. Mega Evolutions is
I
just like.
love Mega Evolutions.
Mega Evolutions is.
I hate that it's a blatant ripoff of Digimon,
Yeah, I was
like,
gonna say.
unapologetically.
Mega
It's
Evolutions
not
is.
even that.
Wait, Digimon's starting to get more popular than us.
No, they're
It's
not.
even that for me. It's the fact that a lot of those they either gave them to Pokemon that should have gotten another evolution because they needed that bump
Yep.
and probably will never get one because they got a Mega Evolution, or they gave it to Pokemon that were already overpowered. It was one of the two. Like, there was no in between.
And it,
You know who needs an evolution, and I will continue to hate this Pokemon and despise it until it gets one? Dunsparce. I hate that thing. It's awful.
it is awful.
If it never gets an evolution, it's gonna stay awful.
Yes.
Exactly, but like Absol needed an evolution, Mawile needed an evolution. These are Pokemon that I dearly love, and they're not gonna get one now.
Yeah. What they should do is get rid of like X moves, get rid of or Z moves, or whatever they were called. Get rid of Mega Evolutions. They're all rubbish.
So,
I think all of those were kind of bad ideas.
Yeah.
the funny thing is, like, in the latest season of, like, the Pokemon anime, it's like the world's greatest champions from each region are in this massive tournament.
Sounds cool.
And Ash has come here just absolutely wielding every weapon he can. He has lost his mind, refuses to lose. Someone has hurt this man. He walks in there with a Mega Evolution Stone. He walks in there with a Z-Ring. He walks in there with a Dynamax glove. Like, he's like, if there is a special gimmick to use, I will use them all. I refuse to lose anymore.
Yeah, he's gonna get Dynamax, Mega Charizard, and then Z move with it.
This is apparently this is like one of his strongest teams.
Well, of course it is. If he can Mega Evolve Z move and Dynamax.
So he has a Dragonite.
Right.
It's just a strong Dragonite. He has a Gengar that he Dynamaxes.
Amazing.
He has a Lucario that he Mega Evolves.
Right.
He has a Surfetch, which is just strong.
Yep,
He has that weird.
Surfetch is a fucking beast, actually.
Yeah, he has this weird fossil fish thing from Sword and Shield. Like the mismatched one. Apparently that thing's really strong.
Alright.
And let's see here. I forget what the last Pokemon he has is besides Pikachu. But yeah, and then he has all those abilities. He's just like, I refuse to lose ever again.
I hope he Dynamaxes Pikachu and it's fat.
He does that in the first episode.
Good.
It was so fast. He did it by accident, like he didn't know what was going on, and just see fat Pikachu trying to figure its way out and be like, why am I so fat? I can't move. It was fat Pikachu versus long cat Meowth.
The thing with like the Mega Evolution as well is it turned Kangaskhan into a literal god. Like it actually broke the game completely.
And the best part about that is his Mega Evolution was what? Just his kid coming out of the pocket?
Yes, but it meant that it could attack twice every turn. That's what its ability was.
Oh, wow, I didn't even realize that. Holy shit, that's a lot.
Right, and Kangaskhan's attack stat is incredible anyway. And he's just like, yeah, so I've now got Kangaskhan that can like Dizzy Punch twice a go. And it's just like, well, you've won everything except a Ghost type. Like... But, you've probably got a dark move, like Bite or Crunch or something. And you just do 2 of those instead. Anyway, I think we should think about heading into the last part of our chat show and getting everyone to tell their little stories. Would anybody like to go first?
I nominate Sid.
don't know if Sid still works.
I nominate Rem.
I mean, I can. Oh, is Sid here? Hello?
Hello.
Hello?
Hello.
Hello.
No?
Yes.
No. Yes.
Okay, sorry, I was having an issue.
That's
No,
okay.
it's okay. I understand you've had a bit of a unexpected extra things to do tonight.
Rem can go first. It's okay.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you.
No problem. So the story that I'm going to tell is another childhood story, and it is an illustration of how clumsy I really am, and it's about the time that I stepped out into thin air like a cartoon character. So, when I was a child, I was in Girl Scouts, and we would go camping, and there was one, it was like a really nice camp, and it had like big platform tents, and when we got in there, we were moving the beds around for some reason. I don't even remember why they wanted to move the beds. So we got there, and I was just standing like at the back while they were putting their beds where they wanted them to be. And they, I wanted to move out of the way, so I stepped back to lean on the railing. And guess what? There wasn't a railing. So I stepped out of this platform tent that was probably a good 4 or 5 feet off the ground, which was, probably taller than me at that point. And all of a sudden, like, I stepped into thin air, and there is nothing to describe to you the feeling of just expecting there to be ground there, and then there's not.
I remember when I was walking downstairs and I missed a stair.
Yeah, I was going to say it's like what missing a step, but to the nth degree.
Like that, with both of your feet, and there's just nothing. And the next thing I know, I am on the ground on my back in a pile of leaves that broke my fall slightly, staring up at the sky.
Just
like,
wondering how you got there. Like, why, God, why?
Why?
Just why?
It was wild. It's probably one of the funniest things that's ever happened to me. And I was fine other than some scrapes. I took some Tylenol. But it was
Oh, that sounds very unfortunate.
I am a sort of kind of similar thing I have. So when I was a kid, I used to climb trees lots. And I remember distinctly one time climbing a tree, and the branch I was standing on snapped, so I was sort of just dangling. And I couldn't, swing myself to another branch from where I was. So I was like, well, my only thing is I have to let go and just go back to the floor.
How high up were you?
Well, I mean, I was probably only about 6 or 7 at the time, so to me it felt like a long way up. But it probably was maybe 5 or 6 feet. It was high.
That's still a long way up for a kid.
Yeah, a lot when you're a child.
Yeah, it was I was higher up than my height, but I probably wasn't dangerously high up, sort of thing. I let go and I landed on my feet, and it hurt a bit, but I wasn't injured.
Yeah. There was another time that I fell as a child, but it was probably a few years later. I was in a chorus event that was a bunch of different schools coming together for a really big concert. And on my way out, on the edge of the bottom stair, or second to last stair, my foot twisted, and I spun around and would have spun directly into traffic, except that a very dapper looking old man in a suit with a cane happened to be walking by exactly at that time, and he caught me in a felt, and we were just really confused. Everything was fine.
If it wasn't an old man, had it been someone your age, it feels like the start of a rom-com.
It kind of does.
I tripped and I would have fallen into traffic, but this dashing gentleman caught me.
Sounds like a shoujo manga, absolutely. But it was a very confused, dapper old man.
He's like, well, why am I here? What is happening? I love the fact that it was just a dapper old man too, like not a regular old man. He was very dapper.
He was very dapper, like actual suit, like fancy cane. Just happened to be passing by.
I love the fact that he had like a fancy cane.
Yeah.
That just really adds to everything. I want to believe that if it was one of those canes that he could like pull out and it was secretly a sword.
That would be very cool.
To defend his honor.
I would like one of those.
Should you besmirch it, heaven have mercy.
If you could have a cane that pulls out into any concealed weapon, what would it be? And why would it be a flamethrower?
You can make any weapon come out of a walking cane?
Yeah.
I mean, if we can hammer space a whole glaive in there, that would be rad.
Right? Right? I was like, what are the logistics here?
No, you can do that if you want. I mean, it would obviously be cane size, so it'd be quite a small glaive, but like you can.
Yeah. Or
Okay,
like,
if we're being realistic, then a preloaded dart gun. The bop.
I'm sticking single-use flamethrower. Just like.
Single-use flamethrower. What if the wind's blowing in the wrong direction? I feel like that could go very wrong very fast.
Well, cool. Thank you for sharing. Who would like to go next?
I go for it, Sid.
Okay. Well, I felt whenever I was younger too. But that won't be my story. But it was during a dance recital, and I had a part where I was like really short. I've always been short compared to a lot of other people my age. So I went underneath everybody doing a back bend, and I would like walk the line underneath everybody because everybody was doing a back bend, but I was walking under them. Well, I didn't know that the stage like literally cut off at the curtain. So I bent backwards and my back like fell and I was like hanging halfway off the stage and it was really scary.
Ouch.
But and I started crying like during the review, but I still kept dancing. And it was pretty crazy. But my story, I was just gonna say about like how I met like elementality and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of have told this story before on my channel, but I actually met elementality or John and Blues about 6 or 7 years ago on a game called Torum Online. It's an MMO. I met Blues twice actually, but I didn't remember him at first. So I met Blues first, and then I met John like a month or two later, and I hit it off like really well with John, and he actually joined my guild in that. And we would always like cut up, and like we made these characters called Totem Face and Fairy Pants, and we dressed our characters up. And yeah, we just like did stupid stories with those two characters. But eventually he left my guild, and then I ran into him like a month or so later, and he's like, oh hey, me and my friend are gonna make a guild, and he asked me if I wanted to join, and I quickly was like yeah, because I like missed him the whole time. He's funny and fun. But anyway, I met Blues again like during that, and Blues, you remembered me, but I didn't remember him until like later.
No.
Yeah, but I mean,
did you do that thing where you like he remembered you and you tried to be like you just go yeah I know you yeah we did the thing yeah
the time at the
but
place.
I didn't remember him. Then I remembered him later. I'm like, oh hey, have we met before?
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh, poor
So-
Blues.
I know, poor Blues. But here I am, still friends with them, like 6-7 years later. And John started streaming a couple years ago, and then I started streaming. So yeah, that's my little story.
That's really cool though. That's really nice that you've like had these friends for a really long time.
Yeah, they're awesome.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know Blues, but I mean, yeah, John's certainly a really cool guy.
Blues is love.
Yeah, Blues is normally in John's chat or my chat.
I've probably seen them around them, but maybe it just haven't stood out. Cool. Prez, what you got for us?
Shoot. There's the time I headbutted a stranger.
I know that story.
Oh, you know that one, okay. Let's see here.
I mean, you can tell that story if you want, but...
I'm like, CK, we spent so much time together, I've heard most of my stories. Let's see here. We already talked about, like, the friend of the year rando thing.
Sounds.
That was a thing. Or, like, we weren't ready, by the way, till we hit go live.
Yep.
Like, we were working up to that moment, and the reason we had a 15 screen was so we could go get changed.
That's fair.
Shoot. Yeah, I'm sorry, I don't know what to tell. I'm, like, drawing a blank here. Because I'm sure you've heard all of them by now.
It doesn't matter if I've heard them. Like, there will be other people who don't know you, who, you know, people who've come in to see Rem or Sid, maybe, that don't know you so well. Or even people who have come in to see me that don't know you so well. You can tell a story I've already heard. Tell it for the other people.
I'm also trying to figure out which ones aren't...
Which ones aren't what?
I'm also trying to figure out which ones aren't technical. Because I'm on the borderline with the headbutt one. I'm like... let's see here. There was this time when I was like super young, right? And I would always go out with my grandma sometimes to the bazaar and whatnot, and she would take me to arcades sometimes to like have me play the games. That's like where my love of arcade games and fighting games came from, like being a wee little lad going to arcades and just like messing around on the machines, not really knowing what the hell he's still kind of having fun. And then one time she left me there while she was doing some errands. And this dude who I've never seen before came up to me and was like, "Yeah, I'm here to pick you up. Come get you." And stupid me said, "Okay," and decides to get on this dude's motorcycle, who I've never met before, and he takes me home. And then, like, retrospective, like, this is apparently an uncle of mine, who I've never met before, but retrospectively, my God, was that a stupid situation to be in.
So it was legitimately your uncle that you just didn't know?
Yes, he was legitimately my uncle, who I just didn't know.
that it worked out.
Yeah, it worked out, but like, I'm like, wait, shouldn't you guys have introduced me first, and also, why am I so stupid?
Or like, called you to tell you specifically that this was going to happen.
Because I was looking around for her in the arcade, and I was like about to cry because I couldn't find her. And this dude that I've never met before, "I'm here to get you. We'll get you back." I'm like, okay. Yeah, like it was a whole thing. Like looking back, I'm like, man, I was a stupid kid. I would also like do this thing while I was like super young, where in our culture it's considered to be very rude and or flirtatious to pull on a woman's scarf back in the home country.
Okay.
So, of course, little 2-year-old tiny Prez would go around the marketplace tugging on everyone's scarf.
Oh, no.
And they would often just turn around ready to hurt someone and see this small child and just be like, "Oh, okay." So that was a thing that would happen when I was younger all the time. Another fond memory I have is, have you guys ever heard kite fighting?
Heard what?
So, what? I think you cut out.
Kite fighting.
I have not.
You've heard of
kite
it.
fighting is basically an on-site situation where in Pakistan, when you fly kites, they use very, very thin. That can be very dangerous in a lot of circumstances. So the idea is, if you are flying a kite and you notice someone else flying a kite, you will do everything in your power to cut that man's kite down. Only one kite can be left standing at any time.
I like for you that flying
And that
kites
was
is
just
the same as
something that
Highlander.
kids and adults alike just did.
Wait,
Like, you're
how
flying
their kite if you're flying a kite?
with your thread. The threads are so thin that they're actually sharp. So you fly yours and try to angle it so
It's
thread
like
cuts
a
theirs.
Pokemon battle. Like if you meet the eyes of another.
It's on sight.
It's like,
So yeah, that was,
I will cut down
that
your
was a
kite.
very interesting situation that you have to be careful of because you could definitely hurt someone. Yeah, it was a whole thing. Like, you see a kite, you cut it down. Only your kite is allowed to be left standing. I don't care if they're younger than me. I don't care if they are a small child flying a kite for the first time. I'm about to ruin this memory forever.
Glenn, thanks for gifting the sub to Lexi. It's really nice of you. Really
This
appreciate
old
it.
man, he should have known better than to come out here on a day like this.
Thanks, Glenn.
Exactly. Yeah, you gotta be ruthless. You see a kite, you cut it down. Them's the rules. Because if you don't, they will. You think it's a small kid flying a kite, enjoying the first time ever flying a kite? You better believe that their parents are guiding them. Be like, all right, now angle it this way, cut that bastard down. So that was like a whole thing. And Remen said, you've both heard the headbutt story, right?
Yeah, with the airport. Yeah.
The airport?
No,
Wasn't it at an airport?
No, there was one at a hospital.
I don't know if
Oh, a
I've heard this.
hospital.
So
I got
Rem.
confused. I have heard it.
No, airports are just genuinely bad times for me all around.
Maybe you were talking about that, and then and then you told the red story.
So, Rem, what had happened was, due to certain health conditions I have to get, like, medical tests done, to make sure I will continue to function for the rest of the year. And I was just getting around the time I took, like, a week off from Twitch to, like, get all my tests and stuff done, and I was leaving the hospital, and basically, the fact that I have to get these things done puts me in a weird mental headspace, just to preface this. And I was leaving the hospital, and there was this gentleman near the exit outside of the hospital that was causing a bit of a scene. He was practically dragging this kid by the arm, and this kid was yelling very loudly, "You're not my dad, let me go." So a lot of red flag. Very concerning, but no one's doing anything. Everyone's just like watching this happen very uncomfortably. So I walk up and I'm like, try to reason with them. I'm like, hey, look, this looked really bad. I'll be honest. Can we just go inside and just verify how you know the kid with the receptionist? Like, you guys are clearly just leaving the hospital. The receptionist should. If you can just do that, then it'll be fine. Otherwise, I'm gonna have to call someone. And so Dad like turns to me and just starts screaming in my face. This like grown man while like tightening his grip on the kid. And normally I would just put my like customer service face, like just let them get out of their system, yell at you for a while, it'll be fine. But again, I wasn't like in the right headspace, and it looked like he was hurting the kid at this point, who again was yelling, "You're not my dad. I don't know you." So I grabbed him by his collar and buried my skull in his nose. I knocked him to the ground. He's looking very confused. And I scoop up the kid while he's confused. And I take him back inside to the receptionist lady at the front desk. And I'm like, help, I'm not committing a kidnapping. I don't know what to do. This is what was happening outside. So the reception lady recognizes this kid, and apparently this is a situation that's happened before. Because she knew who to call right away. And moments later, like while she's making the call, the gent is walking back in, right? And he has his eyes set on me, and, you know, he has the right to sock me in the face at this time. And he's, like, approaching me, but then he notices someone else coming down the hallway, and his attention immediately shifts to him. And from what I can overhear between the new gentleman and the old gentleman's argument is, the new guy who is coming down the hall is the kid's stepdad, and the guy who was outside yelling and dragging the kid is his biological father. And at that point, this entire situation became too complicated for me, and I left while they were.
That is the correct thing. Leave before they can, you know. And when you broke someone's arm on the way home.
That's always a difficult situation to react to. Apparently, I did that to my mother once as a child, just because I was mad at her in a store, and she was sitting there thinking like, "Oh my god," like, and nobody did anything.
People don't do things. So there's a thing in.
I may have committed assault, but I like to think of it as the possible defense of a third party. It seemed like a kidnapping, so you know.
But yeah, people don't do things.
You know, just
if they see
dash your
like
face into someone
things
else's
happening
face
outside.
and kidnap the child instead.
So
and that's the headbutt story. So there you go.
My story.
And that's why we have that emote. Thank you, cheese.
My story of people not doing stuff right. I genuinely had like.
Also, it started a question in my stream where, because in that split moment I had to make a and that choice was, do I punch this man or do I headbutt him? And I felt like punching him was more personal, and therefore I should. And that started a whole debate for a while of what's more personal, headbutting someone or punching someone.
I think headbutting is more personal.
Yeah, I would have said headbutting is more personal.
I would say so, but like if he was already in your face, I don't know.
It was more convenient. You know,
yeah.
like.
Would your head okay though?
My head? It's pretty thick.
Yeah.
Fun fact: there is a proper way to headbutt people. So when people headbutt, the thing that they always mess up, and this is an actual thing, is they headbutt forehead to forehead. You're supposed to headbutt to nose or lower.
It's softer.
If you headbutt forehead to forehead, that's like the thickest part of the skull, and you're just gonna hurt yourself and them. Just not a good time. If you're gonna bury your face into someone else's face, you do it to their nose or lower. You gotta get the squishy bits.
Cool.
Glenn, I can't throw a fist out pure reaction.
Note of that. I'll make note of that.
Glenn, throwing fists out pure reaction is how I got banned from a haunted house.
Oh no, I have heard that story.
I'm a coward. My friend took me to a haunted house. It didn't go well.
Oh no.
It didn't go well. Just there's not much to say, Glenn. He scared me, and then he was taking a nap, and then I got in trouble. I deserve to get in trouble.
So, on like a similar thing of people just not doing anything when like a obvious crime is happening.
I didn't want to go to the haunted house, Glenn. I am a coward.
I have really, really, really strong reflexes, and so in high school, like, kids I was kind of friends with, but who were kind of jerks, would, like, try to, like, sneak up on me and stuff, and they learned not to do it, because before I even, like, could mentally react, like, my elbow was out.
That reminds me of this dude in high school. I was only friends for, like, a year. He was kind of not cool, like, but then in high school, no one knows who you are. You're still figuring shit out. But this dude would keep cup checking people all the time. And he thought it was like a fun game. And do you know what cup check is?
No.
He basically just yell cup check and like quickly tap or like lightly hit someone in the dick.
Right. I mean, I guessed it was
Yeah,
something like
cool.
that.
And I knew I was his next target. So while we were like he got like most people in our group. So I just hit him really hard in the dick before he could do anything. He stopped. He stopped after that.
High school was pretty wild.
High school wasn't wild for me so much, but I just didn't want to get punched in the dick, so I just punched him first.
I mean, understandable. I would not want to either.
Well, was that enough stories for you, CK?
Yeah. I was gonna say,
CK, you might be muted. We can't hear you.
Oh. Why not?
Oh, you guys can hear CK in stream. Okay.
Yeah.
I can't hear him on Discord. Can you hear him on Discord?
I can't hear either.
Oh,
No, I
it,
can't hear him.
but I'm not muted. I can unmute and mute.
Strange.
I'll try this.
Definitely hear him on.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Yeah, well that explains why you'd been talking over me so much.
I'm sorry. I had no idea you were talking this whole time.
No, we didn't hear you for like ever.
No.
Ah.
I wasn't trying to be an asshole, I swear.
Because I even checked and I was like, no, I'm not muted. It says I'm not. No, that's fine. No, all I was going to say is about you saying that about how people don't do anything when they see like an obvious trouble thing happening. And I was like, I've got one like that at the store I used to work at. Sometimes like when we got our delivery in, it would be too big to fit in our warehouse and we'd have to leave some stock like outside for a little while we sort of worked some of it. And I once was sort of taking out like an empty like roll cage to put in our compound, and I saw a guy just walking off with one of our cages of stock.
What, he just walked off with it?
Well, he was trying. He was clearly like a smackhead and had no idea what he was doing, and he was
a what?
A druggie.
Okay.
You know, and like he basically, rather than taking it to the lower, like the dip in the curb, he was trying to bounce it up the curb, and he couldn't do it because it's heavy. So I just sort of went over to him and was like, hey, you can't take this because obviously. And he was like, well, I am. And I was like, no.
Well, I am.
You know, and this, like, and I'm quite sort of lax on shoplifting because ultimately they're not stealing from me and all the stock's insured, and why waste my time when someone might get violent? But at the same time, I can't really justify letting somebody walk away with an entire cage of stock. So, you know, I sort of went back and forth for a while with me just being like, you're genuinely not taking this. And after a while, and this sort of ended with him just sort of punching me in the face and walking off.
Oh my,
you know.
I'm sorry, CK.
It happens. Welcome to working retail, you understand. You know, but like, genuinely, this was happening at about 4 or 5 in the afternoon. It's not like it was late. It was still daylight out. And my forecourt was like full of people like filling up their cars with petrol. Not one looked over to sort of go, oh, that guy's clearly stealing stuff. That, you know, that shop worker's trying to stop him. Oh, he's punched that guy. Not one looked up at all.
Oh my god.
People just don't care if it's not their problem.
Very unfortunate.
Yeah, I mean, luckily, you know, it was sort of where he was clearly somebody who's done far too many drugs. He couldn't throw a very hard hit, so you know, there is that advantage. But
I just like the idea of someone walking up, hey, you're doing a crime, don't do that, and then be like, but I like doing crimes.
But I want to.
I don't know. Did you not get much theft at like GameStop? Like, that's pretty typical for a shop, for somebody.
We when people shoplift from us, we usually catch them on camera, probably.
Yeah. Oh, you see,
I just genuinely like the idea of someone trying to stop theft, and then their response being, "But I like doing crime."
Yeah, no, we very much get people arrogantly just being like, yeah, I'm taking this all the time. Unfortunately, our police just don't care that much, so
Nah, they don't care here either.
No.
Not that I really care if people shoplift. And I worked for Toys R Us. It was an absolutely
Oh,
company.
oh my.
It wasn't gonna hurt them, but like the police just straight up didn't care. All you could do was get their license plate and give it to the police, so the police could do nothing with it.
Yeah.
I remember this one customer lost his mind on us and started asking me to go outside and fight him over not having a...
Oh god. Yeah, people, like, much worse experience than with shoplifters were with people who were just enraged that we didn't have a product in stock.
So
Just
like,
enraged.
he said like I was like on his case or something. I'm like, no, you're my only customer, giving you attention. So you know, after he was a jerk, I called every store in the area, told him his information, and said, "Do not serve this out of him."
Probably the worst experience I had was one time, I just told a lady that she couldn't put a certain thing in, layaway, and she looked at me, and she took her buggy and slammed it into the front of the store. Like, we were beside the front of the store, that's where the register was, and slammed it into the front and just left. Just walked away. Without a word.
Jesus.
Just looked me straight in the eye and did it and left.
The worst customers definitely came out during COVID, in my opinion.
No.
Retail.
No.
Yeah.
I didn't work, like, I have not worked retail in a long time, which is probably evidenced by the fact that I worked at a Toys R Us. But,
we
Christmas
had
was the worst.
we had limited capacity as far as we would let in if we need math thing.
Oh yeah, I mean,
We
I
only
know.
let 5 people into a store at a time, and then this one dude, like, he was wearing his mask over his chin, and so I told him multiple times to like pull it up, like very politely, and basically by the end of the transaction, like the middle of the transaction, yelling at me about everything, politics and stuff,
Yeah.
and then he proceeds to continue to yell at me, and then cough on our shirt rack before kicking over something and leave.
I know. When you with the like having only certain numbers of people in the store and stuff. I know, like Katie works in a pretty rough area, and she had a lot of people being like, "If you don't let me in your store now, I'm just gonna come in and fucking stab you." Like it's not okay. Like there's a lot of. But I mean, I don't know. She like I say, she gets it all the time in her shop because it's a not very nice place.
Yeah, people be crazy.
Yeah.
In retail.
Very entitled.
The worst ones for being entitled, genuinely, I get so many complaints and stuff just from the police who come to our store. They are the most entitled customers of all.
How bad?
Well, so where I work nights, like, we close our doors between 11 at night and 5 in the morning, and we serve through the window. Like, which is pretty standard petrol station, like, etiquette. And then the police will get really shitty with you and like shout at you and stuff if you don't let them in, and if you just like, you know, if they're like, why should we like come through the window, like do everything through the window? We should be allowed in the store, and it's like, well, no, because you should follow the same rules as everyone else. But yeah. Anyway, enough whinging about work.
I could complain about work all day.
Well, yeah.
I think most people could.
You know. So, as always, to finish it off, I thought I'll bring a little story. And what I wanted to talk about, I've kind of touched on bits of this on stream, certainly a lot last year. But, you know, like, where it's, like, nearly Lyra's first birthday, I thought I'd tell the story of the day she was born.
Aww.
Which I have described to many people as one of the longest days of my life, and also one of the worst days of my life, but with a very good outcome. Because it was a long day. And I wasn't even the one doing the hard work, like. But yeah, so it was basically, it all kind of started on the Saturday night. We were at our friend's house, like, for the evening. And apparently Katie had been trying to subtly, like, suggest to me that we should leave several times throughout this evening, and I had just not realised. But when we got in the car afterwards, she was like, "Hey, I think my contractions have started. I'm pretty sure like labour is starting." I was like, "Oh, okay. Well, that's exciting. I guess we just kind of have to wait until they get to whatever point it was, like close enough together that we can go to the hospital." That didn't happen until Monday, so she spent all weekend technically in labour. And then it was Monday evening about 10 o'clock, I think, in the evening, something like that. No, it was earlier than that. We got home about 10. It's about 8 o'clock in the evening, I think. But she was like, "Yeah, I think everything's like sort of getting going now. We should go into hospital." We went in, and they sort of linked her up to a machine to sort of measure everything. Sort of went, "Yeah, it's not like everything seems to be slowing down again. Sometimes this happens. Go home, try and get some sleep, keep an eye on it, that sort of thing." So yeah, we got home about 10, half 10 at night, sort of thing. Went straight to bed because we were pretty tired.
Understandably, after all that.
Yeah, Braxton Hicks, that's it. Is there sort of faux contractions and stuff. But then Katie woke me up about 2 in the morning. She sort of said like, "Oh, I haven't slept at all. I'm in so much pain. Can we go back to the hospital?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure, no worries." So yeah, we got back to the hospital. Yeah, about 2 in the morning. So she must wake me up a bit before that. But we got to the hospital at 2 in the morning. I remember distinctly. And they sort of were like, "Yeah, okay, your contractions seem to be starting. Everything's going along. We just need to do a exam on you to sort of see how far along you are. So what painkillers we're allowed to give you and that sort of thing." For reasons I won't go into because it's her business. Katie can't have a normal exam done.
Okay.
But they were like, "Well, we can't examine you, so we don't know how far along you are. We can't give you any pain medicine because we don't know what pain meds are okay." And then that seemed to be the night shift done with us. They were like, so she just basically spent the next few hours until we had to wait until the morning shift came in so they could have a look. Just in intense pain. Like I've never seen anything like it. It was horrific. And there are some people who apparently go through labour and think it's a breeze. Katie is not one of those people.
Some people think that. I've never heard that before.
Yeah, no, I've heard it from a few people. It's just like, you go in, pop the baby out. It wasn't that bad. But yeah, she was in pain like I've never seen. Like I was genuinely having to hold her up when she was standing. Like she couldn't support herself. It was really bad. And yeah, and I think she was basically in that state from about 2, 3 in the morning until just after midday, when they finally decided that they could give her something stronger than paracetamol. And then we got moved up because they moved up to the ward and stuff, and she was given gas and air. And within about 5 minutes of her having gas and air, because she went understandably, she went to absolute town on it, and she was high as anything and talking absolute nonsense, and it was really funny.
What was the funniest thing she said when she was like that?
I can't remember, but it was just I don't know. The difference was just astounding, and how quick it came on. She was just sort of went from, like I say, sort of immeasurable pain to just being really sort of very, very chatty and very fast talking, and most of it was just sort of nonsense. It was nice that she was relaxed. And then we had some really good staff with us throughout the afternoon who were really good and looking after her. And then I remember them being like, "Oh, it's going to be a while," and that sort of thing. And when she eventually got to sort of stage that, and they were like, "Oh, by the such point you shouldn't be They decided they would need to give her an epidural, and that was a bit of a faff getting that in. That's not, and it didn't take properly at first. It only not, and so they had to actually do the epidural twice to get it to work because. It was a bit of a faff, and I don't know if you've seen how one of those goes in, but it's a needle this sort of size into your spine. Yeah, it's not fun. And the fact so like I say, yeah, the first one didn't work and they had to do a second one. So she wasn't really having a good time. But again, once it was actually in, she was sort of nice and relaxed and everything was sort of chill. The problem she found then is where it's kind of like, how an epidural works is it basically numbs you from the waist down. She then found that she couldn't feel the contractions very much anymore. So when it came to the point she had to start pushing, she didn't know when she was supposed to be doing it. So we had like the first like staff were really good with us because they were watching it on the monitor, so they'd see when the contraction would spike and they'd tell her to start like pushing. But then for whatever reason, like it took, because these things take a while, like the shift change came round, and then the next nurse wouldn't do that. They kept just like doing other things, and she was like, "Can you actually help me with what I'm doing?" And they were like, "No."
No, they just said no.
No, I mean, obviously they didn't actually just say no, but they didn't help. They were not so good. But it went on. I think she was in the stage she was supposed to be pushing for a couple of hours, and by that point they were like, "Look, you're getting too tired. We're not making any progress. We're gonna have to move you into like theatre, and then from there we'll attempt to do it with like the forceps and help the baby out. If that doesn't work, we'll have to do an emergency C-section." And she's like, "Okay." At this point, you know, she's far too tired to argue with anyone, so it's just like, yeah, whatever needs doing. The only problem is, once they can't move you while you've got an epidural in. So they have to take it out, which means obviously all the pain relief goes away while they move her into theatre and stuff. And then they were like, well, when you're in theatre, we basically have to put a spine blocker in, which is like a mini epidural. But essentially you have to have the same big needle put back in you, just at the other end. And I remember, like, she sort of moved over to theatre all right. I mean, they probably wheeled her over, I can't remember. But I remember having to hold her sort of still and upright because she was too tired to do it on her own, so she could have the spine blocker put back in when we got there. And then luckily they were like, yeah, this has obviously been a pretty long day, so we're only going to try the assisted delivery once, and then if that doesn't work, it'll be a C-section, but we'll try it. And luckily, with, you know, what a big pull from the forceps, Lyra did come out. But she was born at 10:30 at night, and like I say, we got to the hospital at 2 in that morning, so that was a long day for us. But being like the guy with somebody in an operating theatre for the like a birth thing is, you have never felt more in the way in your life. Right? Because they sort of, you go in there and they're like, yeah, you can stand near her, like, you know, be comforting, because she probably needs you. Oh no, don't stand there. Can you go? No, actually, we need to get around this place. And like, I got moved about 6 times, and I was just like, I just don't. And then they were like, why are you standing in the corner? Come and help you, like, comfort your wife. And I was like, I don't know where I can be.
I don't know what you want from me.
And there was this thing.
You want me to move? Do you want me to stay? I don't know.
Yeah, it was. I don't know. I understand me sort of whinging about anything from that day sounds very like stupid, because Katie's had a pretty horrible day. It wasn't a good.
You're doing a great job selling the idea of pregnant.
Like it goes better for a lot of people, and I like I said,
It sounds like it was pretty rough.
It was not fun. Like I say, it goes better for a lot of people, and even after all of that, it was definitely worth it. Like, you know, being a dad is genuinely one of the best things I've ever done. Probably the best thing I've ever done. Lyra's amazing, but yeah. And there's a thing we read about before, which some hospitals do, where they sort of, when the baby first comes out, they quickly show the dad, and then he can announce to the room the gender of the baby, to just kind of, I guess, feel involved. And when I was reading about it,
feel involved, is that really the reason?
I don't know. Well, like you say, you're kind of not doing much there. You're just a bit in the way. And I remember reading about it, thinking, oh, that's a really cool idea. But then the sort of surgeon asked me if I wanted to do that. And by this point, I was just like, I'm so tired. I was like, no, you can just tell us. So he was like, so his idea was like, oh, fine, I'll just hold it up for the mum, like Lion King style. And then she can tell everyone what it is.
And look at Katie was also just exhausted.
Well, that's it. And you think how tired I was. Like, I managed to get about an hour and a half's nap while she was doing, like, you know, all of this at one of the quieter points. And, you know, I wasn't trying to push a baby out of me. And I wasn't really drugged up on painkillers. Like, you know. But they were like, yeah, we'll show Katie, it's fine. Got the baby out and just sort of held it up. And she just went, I don't know, a boy? And they were like, no, it's a girl. And she's like, a girl!
I don't know, boy.
He was probably exhausted.
Well, that's it. I at this point, I don't think Katie had slept in about 40 hours. You know, any sleep she had
as long as it's human.
Yeah, that's it. Like, any sleep she had in the last few weeks was very interrupted by the fact she was like 10 days overdue. Like, she was not in a very comfortable place. And yeah, she was full of like pain meds and stuff. I asked her about it afterwards, and apparently it was like she could just see like the knees, like where her legs were bent, and just thought those are probably testicles. I don't know. But sorry, but yeah, like I say, it was a very long day with a very wonderful ending. But yeah, that's what our day was like. But then they sort of go and clean her up, and then they put her in they wrapped her in a towel and put a little like woolly hat on her to keep her warm, and gave her to me while they sort of stitched Katie up. And I was sort of sitting there, like, I've got photos of it I can send you at some point, so you can see, but like of holding her in the theatre the very like minutes after she was born, being like, I don't know what to do with this. But this is mine now.
This is mine now. I don't know what to do. Help.
But at the same, it's weird. It's like you really can. It is a very daunting thing to suddenly have this baby, but also it's wonderful. And it's like, you know, it's not just like, oh my god, this is mine now. It's like, oh, this is mine now. Like, you know, I don't know. I'm probably not explaining it very well.
Fine. It's something that feels like it's hard to play unless you have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so, you know, and then I sort of phoned my parents and been like, yeah, so, you know, because they do the thing where you can tell they're very obviously trying not to message you all day because they know that you're in hospital and it's busy.
Uh-huh.
But also they really want to know what's going on.
As you do.
Yeah. So I remember phoning my parents and Katie's parents and just being like, yeah, so, you know, we've just had the baby, we've got a little girl, and everything's okay. But because it was like quite a bad birth, we then spent the next 2 nights in the hospital before like Katie and Lyra went home. But yeah, there you go. That's the story of how my baby was born.
You're the longest day you've ever had.
It was the genuinely one of the worst days of my life, minus the last hour, which was one.
Oh man, when little Lyra gets older, it's like, yeah, you were one of the worst days of my life until you were born.
I mean, I think that's fair. Until you were born, like that's quite a.
That's the important part that you need to make sure to add.
But it was. Is that like I say, genuinely, it felt like when we were there in the morning, the night staff's job was just like.
It was bad, but then it became the best day.
Yeah, that was it. It did feel like the night staff were just like, as long as you don't die by the morning, it's fine. and then,
Oh my god!
I mean, I don't know, and possibly if they could have done a proper examination on Katie like sooner, then things would have been different. They might not have been so laissez-faire about it. I don't know. I guess the other thing is, to us, it's a
Possibly they probably should have done a C-section sooner.
Maybe, but Katie really didn't want them to.
But I mean, I'm not a doctor.
No, I don't know. In hindsight, there's a lot of things that we could have done different. And they have sort of said if we ever decide to have another kid, then they would recommend we just do an elective C-section from the start. Which is also more convenient because you know exactly what time and date your baby is going to be born. Makes taking time off work easier.
I just remember I was born upside down. I forget if I was C-section.
Really? That's quite dangerous if you were born up like feet first.
Yep, I was born upside down with a disease that should have killed me. And then after we left the hospital, it burned down to about a week after.
Wow.
It was also on a road called Jail Road.
Did they ever?
God tried his best to
I was
make
gonna say,
sure I didn't happen.
Did they?
I am everyone's problem now.
Did they ever consider like Damien for your name? Like. I was actually born dead.
Oh.
I had to be resuscitated on birth. Because I had the umbilical cord wrapped around my neck and I'd strangled myself.
Oh my god.
Mm.
I wonder if that's where some of your love of zombies come from.
I've wondered that too.
You know, like, CK is a zombie, therefore he likes zombies.
Exactly. I've had this same thought. I wonder if that's where it all comes from.
Like you're just destined to like zombies.
Yeah. Anyway, that's my story. She's now wonderful. Like I was telling you earlier when press asked.
A little mischievous, a little bit of a trouble, but lovely all the.
Yes. Right. So I guess the only thing left to do is if we can go round one way or the other. I don't mind what you want to do, but if you want to just take a quick sort of couple of minutes to talk about what you're doing on your streams and plug you and let people know where they can find you, and I'll give you shout outs and all that sort of wonderful things. Sell yourselves, go.
Sure. So my name's SecondHand CK.
Shut
you
up.
can find me on the Twitch channel, twitch.tv/SecondHandCK. I just finished 2 games recently and I'm figuring out what I'm doing next, but it's lovely to have your company, and we have Night Shift Manager Umbreon, and we have Celebi as well at times, and fun times. You should come on down to the Secondhand store.
Thanks.
You're welcome. I'm trying to figure out how to do it without doing my whole intro again because it auto fills in my brain.
When do you stream? What are you streaming? Is the usual.
I stream almost every day. I stream currently Digimon 3 Cyber with my buddy Bo. I've already finished that game entirely. I'm as his first Digimon experience, so that's been very interesting to see how that shapes up. I'm also playing Digimon Survive with Rem here and some others on Wednesdays, but not this Wednesday. We're taking a break this Wednesday. We'll be back the following. And I'm playing the Resident Evil 1 remaster, as well as, you know, the occasional Monster Hunter fighting, what have you.
I've really been enjoying your Resident Evil play.
Thank you. It's been very interesting hearing your input as far as, like, what people would normally do and how I'm just wrong.
Just so you know, because I know you were wondering how far through you are, where you've just saved it, you're like... You're about 10 minutes away from what I would call the halfway point.
Oh my god. Man, my incompetence for navigation has really extended this playthrough.
Yes, it has. You have spent an awful lot of time just running in circles in that game.
CK has been watching my VODs for that game, and he watches it with Lil Lyra sometime, which has been really cute to see. But he's pointed out to me, he's like, Prez, the amount of time that you have been going in the right direction, about to make progress, and for no explainable reason decided to turn around and go the wrong direction is incredible.
It is mad. So like there's a really helpful thing in that game where like when you look at your map, the room is red if you still need to do stuff in there and green if you finished it. And so it's a really good and easy way to like get around, and it wasn't until like the 3rd VOD, so about 6 or 7 hours into his gameplay, that he actually started using the map, and it was just like bear in mind, in 6 and 7 hours, like most people would be about 3/4 of the way through this game.
Oh, there's this. Yeah. The map.
Yep. Yeah. Even with the map, I've struggled a bit here and there.
Yeah.
I feel that.
And then,
Lots of games all the time.
people have been very surprised with how effective I've been in the boss fights, though.
Yeah. That's it. I mean, I'm very impressed that you've done both the first 2 bosses without the shotgun.
I'm surprised that you can get the shotgun. Yeah.
Yeah, you can. You definitely could have had the shotgun by now, but that's fine.
Just shotgun ammo everywhere, and I do not have the shotgun. And
On
I'm
the
just out
plus.
here with my pistol and my little knife, being like, "Let's go!"
On the plus, when you get the shotgun, it will be like at least well stocked.
Yeah, that's me. Yeah, you can find me on Twitch, TikToks, and Twitters. President Cast across the board.
You absolutely should. Prez is wonderful. Please go and do it if you don't already.
Yeah, and then there's Ren.
Hello. I mostly stream so I stream on Thursdays and Sundays normally. Thursday is Variety Day. Lately I've been streaming Animal Crossing and I think Disgaea was the last thing I did before that maybe. And on Sundays I either play Digimon or Monster Rancher. Right now we're doing Monster Rancher 3. I might still stream today. I don't know because I have to get dinner together. And I don't know. We'll see. I might stream later. But right now the big thing that's coming up is my debut anniversary on October 30th. If I'm feeling up to it, I will be streaming for 12 hours if I can. Into Halloween. So it's going to be a really good time. Hopefully, because I'm having a minor surgery on the 25th. I think I'll be good to go, but we'll
That's
see.
tomorrow.
So I'm not going to be streaming normally after today until the 30th.
And then we're both head empty Agumon appreciators.
On the Wednesday after that, yeah.
Sid?
I haven't been streaming as of late because I've been having a lot of stuff going on and I'm moving, but I should be back soon, hopefully. But before I left, I played a lot of Final Fantasy 14 and I was getting through Metroid Prime 3. I play Monster Hunter sometimes and other things. It really just depends on what I'm feeling to play.
That's fair.
And art sometimes as well. But yeah, 0 Sydney 0
Yeah. Oh, and you play some retro games sometimes too, don't you?
I do with Blues, yeah. Blues and I play co-op on the Nintendo Switch Retro, the
Yeah,
NES
the
and
virtual assembler.
Yeah.
That's cool. But even if Sid's on a hiatus at the moment, you should go give her a follow ready for when she's back because, like I say, her streams are they're just really, really cozy, chill times, and she's a lovely person.
Chill on how today was for me. Sorry, guys.
It's
right.
okay.
The chaos.
Yeah. We'll have to.
Thank you so much.
That's okay. We'll have to have you back on the show when if things are a bit more normal for you.
Oh, thank you.
Right. Yeah. And then I'm CK, and I stream at the weekends. Like I say, I've genuinely we finished Crash yesterday. I was planning on finishing it next week, but yesterday ended up being a 6-hour stream because we just really wanted to. I got really into trying to finish it.
Yeah, I was lurking there for most of that.
Twice I was like, oh, you know what? At the end of this level, I'm going to finish, and then both times I got a raid, and then I was like, well, we can't finish now. And then I sort of got a second wind and carried on, and then it was we were too close to the end of the game to stop now. But yeah, so what have we got coming up? We've got next week. will probably be Dead by Daylight on Saturday, because that's what I tend to do after I finish a game and while I sort out what the next game is. And then on the Sunday we're doing the Halloween stream, which, because it's the day before Halloween, where we're going to be playing Costume Quest, which is a super adorable little turn-based RPG. And my good buddy Prez here, and also Silver and Tony are going to be coming on the stream with me to help do voice acting for all of the characters, so that I don't, because
Oh yeah, because Prez, Silv, and Tony never voice act together. No, never.
well, they do it. Look, okay, you got. I didn't get to join in with the Amori crew, right? And I might have felt a bit left out, and
So, fun fact: they're also part of the Digimon Survive.
I know they are. I know they are.
CK just a little bitter out here.
Yeah, well, I'm sorry I have a job, guys.
I'm sorry I have a job too. It's awful.
It's the worst. Wouldn't recommend.
If I could stream full time, I would. Trust me.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But yeah, so I thought we'd have some friends over. We'd play some Costume Quest. It's going to be really cute. In theory, the game is doable in one stream. I know Silver is certainly up for trying to just complete the entire game next week. We'll see how it goes. We'll do as much of it as we can, But yeah, it's a really nice Halloween game, because it's all about trick or treating, but it's not scary. So it's like a Halloween game for people that don't want to be scared, which is Prez.
I'm a coward.
Yeah. And then when we get into November, I don't know if it will take the Saturday or Sunday spot, but we're going to be doing It Takes Two with Kitty. And if people don't know Kitty, she's genuinely one of the coolest streamers out there as well. So it'd be really nice to be doing something with her. And I don't know what else I'm going to be doing. I have to work out another game to play as well. Imagine playing games with friends. I know, right? I love that Demi Vemon. That's so cool.
They made a life-size Demi Vemon plush.
I know. It is awesome. But yeah, so that's what's coming up on the channel here. All I've got left to say is thank you to Prez and Brem and Sid for hanging out here today and agreeing to be on my little show. Thank you everyone who's been watching as well. That's really appreciated.
Thank you, everybody.
Of course. Lovely to be here.
Thank you for having us.
Well, you're all awesome people, and I want to introduce you to, as many people as I can, and each other.
Deeply appreciate that.
Yeah, I never met Prez before, so that was interesting.
Yeah. He's loud and he doesn't stop talking, but if you can get past that, he's a great guy.
I'm sorry!
Yeah, he seems pretty cool.
Yeah. I've heard the reason to watch him is actually just for Gengar.
Dang, poor
I thought
Paramount
that was
Eevee.
Prez. I'm sorry.
Yeah. yeah.
Who's that guy?
Yeah, Gengar in the castle and co-host Prez. Yes.
I'm done. I'm joking now.
Cool. So I would do, if anybody wants them and doesn't already have them, here are my socials. You can follow on the Twitter to get updated on what I'm up to. You can check out past VODs on YouTube, and you can join the Discord. Prez is there too. If you set your role as a sloth, you get updated on my little corner of the Discord, and if you set your role for live notifications, you get to see when me and all of the other wonderful streamers who use that Discord go live.
Yeah.
That's the thing we do. We're going to go raid somebody. We are quite welcoming, unless you're a dick.
Yeah. We're cool unless you aren't.
Yes, that's exactly it. Right, we're going to go raid. This is going to be my thing of finding somebody that Prez doesn't know. Check me out. Tell
you what, no matter who you pick, I will pretend to not know them.
Oh, well, in that case, let's go to chaos. No, we get, that'd be amazing. It was almost worth it just to see you be like, "Who are you?" You'd break her heart. No, we're gonna go raid Fluffy. Fluffy's really cool. She raided me yesterday, so it's only fair.
Okay.
Yeah, it is working. Cool. Here is the raid and sub-raid message if you want to chuck that in the chat when you get there. And even if you can't stay and hang out, just come along for the raid and say a quick hey, how are you, or carry on with your lurking, whatever you choose to do. It's just really nice if people come along with the raid. It makes the people we're raiding feel good and all that sort of such. Yeah, all I can say is thank you again for everyone being here. Thank you for my guests, and hopefully I will catch some of you next weekend. But for now, bye, and remember, spread the wholesome.